Chapter 991. Read 336. Luo Ming waved his hand and those people brought Sima Yue and Little Seven away. When the people outside saw that Sima Yue and Little Seven were taken away by the people from the Union, some felt sorry for them while some gloated over their misfortune. Like I said, offending the people of the Union here is simply courting death. I heard that the Heavenly Sect was already at odds with the Academy. Originally, their position in the Pill Alliance was in jeopardy during this alchemy competition, and now they've been caught. I'm afraid the Academy is doomed this time. That may not be the case. The people of the Heavenly Sect are not easy to deal with. This time it was Mao Sanquan who came. Although he couldn't compare to Su Jin, it was said that when he got angry he was also very irritable. He's also very protective of his students. Then there will be a good show to watch. Just wait and see. Sima Yue and Little Seven followed Luo Ming and the rest to the Alchemist Guild. They didn't go through the main entrance but went through a back door. Take them to the prison. I'll go report to Mississippi, Luo Ming instructed the guard. Be careful, don't let anyone else get close to you. Yes, Commander. Enjoy your life here. Luo Ming glanced at Sima Yue and Little Seven before the guards brought them away. They passed through 2 courtyards. Unlike the other courtyards, each courtyard had a large plot of land to grow some medicinal herbs. They walked around the courtyard and headed towards the prison. Little Seven held Sima Yue's hand and winked at her. When are we going to do it? Sima Yue looked around. The location was rather remote and there was no one around. With a thought, a faint fragrance floated around. Do you smell anything? A guard frowned and asked the person beside him. There seems to be some kind of fragrance, the man said. I didn't smell like this when I walked here before. Could there be something? That's not right. The man fell before he could finish his words. Before the others could figure out what was going on, they fainted as well. Yu, I'll go with you. Little Seven kicked the person beside her. You have to stay here and watch over them, Sima Yue said. Don't let anyone find out. Furthermore, you can't enter the enchantment barrier. All right then. I'll wait here. Little Seven agreed reluctantly. Sima Yue followed the route that the bees pointed out to her and avoided the patrolling guards. She successfully arrived at their so-called medicine garden. There was indeed a barrier. There was a slight fluctuation in the space. She called out Little Roar and fused with him before walking in. She looked at the herb garden and pursed her lips. The things here were really not that good. They were far worse than the ones in the Spirit Pagoda. There was nothing that she liked. There is. As as she was before. The soil was freshly plowed and the soil was still fresh. She followed Third Mo's instructions and dug a little. She saw a jade box. She picked up the jade box but did not open it. She was afraid that the fragrance would attract attention. With a thought, she kept the box in her Spirit Pagoda and passed it to Third Mo. When she got up, she saw that a stalk of herb was covered in soil. She moved over and brushed the soil off. Then she tidied up the leaves of the herb. That is the place where the Bodhi mushroom was planted. A warm voice sounded from behind. Sima Yue was shocked. She turned around and saw a man sitting on a wheelchair. He was smiling at her. Although he said he was looking, his eyes were not focused. He should be someone with eye problems. When did this person appear here? Why didn't she notice him? She wondered if he saw her digging for the Bodhi mushroom. She did not feel awkward or helpless after being caught in the act. She calmly sized up the person in front of her. His hands were casually placed on the armrests of the wheelchair. His beautiful face revealed a sickly fatigue. He looked at Sima Yue calmly. It was as if he saw her small movements. Who are you? When did you come? Sima Yue took 2 steps forward and looked at him cautiously. I have always been here. You just didn't notice. The man said, You can call me Xianqiu. Xianqiu? Sima Yue thought for a while. She had never heard of this name. She did not know who he was. Yes. Xianqiu smiled and nodded. You have always been here? Sima Yue asked. Yes. Xianqiu admitted. He did not say whether he saw her or not. What are you doing here? Smelling the herbs. Smelling the herbs? Sima Yue frowned. Did he smell the Bodhi mushroom and came here? Don't worry. I will not tell anyone about you. Xianqiu pointed out what she was worried about. You really saw it? No, how did he know what she was thinking? She looked at him and thought about how to deal with this. Your matters have nothing to do with me. Xianqiu explained. Why do you want to keep it a secret from me? Sima Yue did not understand. Because I have nothing to do with the Alchemist Guild. Xianqiu said, I am a blind person and a cripple. I will not care about anything that I can. Not knowing why, Sima Yue heard a faint disappointment in his words. Then what are you doing here? Are you really here to smell the herbs? She did not believe him. For a person who does not know what color is, smell is an important way for us to perceive the world. Xianqiu crossed his fingers. I cannot see what the world looks like, but I can smell them. Have you always been blind? Seeing his peaceful look, Sima Yue walked over. I heard from others that I could see when I was 1 or 2 years old. So it's not that I couldn't see. It's just that I don't have any memories of that time. Xianqiu teased. A child of 1 or 2 years old did not have any memories. Even if he saw what the world looked like, how could he remember? So he did not know what color the sky was or what flowers looked like. You didn't see a doctor? I did, but no doctor could find the reason. Because I couldn't see, I got used to it. But you want to see the world, right? Sima Yue said, you want to know what the world looks like, what color the sky is and what color it is. You don't just rely on your divine sense to distinguish the things around you. Xianqiu's smile deepened. You know how people like me think. Have you experienced it before? Chapter 992. Sima Yue shook her head. She was not blind. She had experienced life and death and had seen the impermanence of the world. She thought more than others. Moreover, her soul was very sensitive and could easily sense other people's thoughts. Since you didn't, how did you know? Because you just said that you were smelling this place. A person who is curious about the taste of the world, and is also curious about this world. Sima Yue said, am I right? Haha. He chuckled and did not deny it. You said that you're not a member of the Alchemist Guild, and that you came here to find someone to treat your eyes? Sima Yue looked at the man. The aura he was emitting made her want to chat with him. Sort of. Xianqiu said. Have you found someone who can cure you? Xianqiu shook his head. I want to find their president, but he's not here. Xia Chang Tian isn't here, so of course you won't be able to find him. Sima Yue thought to herself. That's why you waited for him at the Union. Wait, isn't there a wizardry barrier here? How did you get in? Sima Yue asked in surprise. I was the one who set up this barrier. Of course I can come in. Xianqiu said, a few days ago, I heard that the guild's treasure was stolen. The vice president asked me to help set up this enchantment. I specifically chose a more stable barrier, but it seems that it won't be of any use to you. Sima Yue shrugged and did not answer him. However, what surprised her the most was that this barrier was actually set up by him. The Alchemist Guild actually invited an outsider to set up a barrier. This meant that this person must be very powerful. Unfortunately, he was blind and his legs were crippled. Are you looking for the Bodhi Ganoderma? Are you with the person from before? Xianqiu didn't ask her about her ability to pass through the enchantment and changed the topic. Why don't you say that I'm the same person as before? Sima Yue raised her eyebrows. When I came to set up the barrier, I smelled the remnants of his scent. It smells different from yours. Your smell is very clean. Xianqiu said. Clean? Is there such a thing as clean? Sima Yue asked curiously. She had only heard of fragrant and smelly things, but she had never heard of clean or unclean things. Of course. Xianqiu smiled but did not say anything. Even if she said those things, it would be different. Then I'll take it as a compliment. Sima Yue said, I have something to do, so I won't talk to you. I hope we can meet again next time. Xianqiu said. Okay. Sima Yue turned around after taking 2 steps and said, will you keep this a secret for me? Xianqiu nodded. Thank you. By the way, if you're looking for the president, he should be back in a few days. Goodbye. Sima Yue knew that he could not see her, but she still waved at him and turned to leave. After she left, a figure slowly appeared behind Xianqiu. Young master, should we investigate this person? Xianqiu thought for a while, nodded and said lightly, it's rare to meet someone who smells so clean, it's okay to get to know him. Be careful not to let him know, some people don't like people asking about them. Yes. That person replied and disappeared again. Xianqiu pushed the chair and accurately avoided the herbs and left the herb garden. Sima Yue returned to her original spot. Little Seven was bored watching the ants moving. Seeing her return, she threw away the branch in her hand and said, you're finally back. Why were you gone for so long? Did something happen? I'll tell you later. Sima Yue took out the antidote and scattered it in the air. Then she pulled Little Seven to the ground and pretended to faint. When the guards smelled the antidote, they slowly woke up. When they realized that they had fainted, they were so shocked that they jumped up. Wake up, wake up. The first guard who woke up shook the people beside him and they woke up too. What happened? I don't know, everyone fainted. Is the prisoner still there? Yes, she's still lying there. I'll quickly go and wake them up. Big brother, what happened to us? There's probably some master who made some poison. As long as the prisoner is still there, it's fine. Let's go, bring them to the dungeon. Sima Yue and Little Seven were woken up. They pretended that they did not know anything and followed those people to the dungeon. Go in. Those people pushed the two of them into the dungeon and locked them up. Then they left without even looking at them. The dungeon of the Alchemist Guild was considered clean. There were no cockroaches or rats and it was not dark or damp. Other than the bad environment, it was still acceptable. Sima Yue found a relatively clean place to sit down. Little Seven went over and sat beside her, asking, "What happened to you?" "I met someone," Sima Yue said. "Met someone?" Little Seven cried out in surprise. "You were discovered?" Sima Yue nodded and told her about Shen Qiu, a blind and crippled person. "Did he really see you take the Bodhi mushroom?" Little Seven was doubtful. Although he didn't see it, he should have felt it. Sima Yue said, "And some people can feel it even if they can't see it with their eyes." "That's true." Little Seven said, "Will he really keep it a secret for you?" "Probably." Sima Yue said, "He doesn't look like a nosy person. If he really wanted to report me, he would have called for help. Moreover, even if he said it, he wouldn't know what I look like or who I am. If he finds me through my smell, I have a way to change that. But others can't find me through my smell." "You've thought it through." Little Seven said, "No wonder you're not worried at all." "All right, now that we've said it, let's wait here peacefully," Sima Yue said as she closed her eyes and began to meditate. How long do we have to wait here?" Little Seven asked. "Tomorrow at the latest." Sima Yue said, "If Director Mao and the rest don't come tomorrow, Senior Brother will get me out. Then we have to stay here for so long." Little Seven was a little bored. She couldn't enter the Spirit Pagoda here. She could only learn from Sima Yue and cultivate here. Sima Yue and the rest waited here for less than a day. There was movement outside, then the door of the dungeon was opened. The sound of wheels could be heard from outside. Sima Yue looked at the person in front of her and asked in surprise, "Xian Qiu, why are you here?" Was he planning to spread the news of her getting the Bodhi mushroom? The person beside Xian Qiu gave the jailer a look. The jailer immediately opened the door. He personally led Sima Yue out and smiled. "I didn't expect young Master Sima to be young Master Xian Qiu's friend. It's a pleasure to meet you. I didn't expect it to be a misunderstanding. Young Master Sima, please come out." Sima Yue looked at Xian Qiu. What was going on? Chapter 993. You are. Sima Yue and Little Seven arrived outside the prison. The middle-aged man came to welcome them personally. "I'm Zhan Xing, Zhan Lu Er's grandfather." Zhan Xing smiled and said, "My insensible granddaughter was blind and offended you. I apologize to you on her behalf. I hope you can forgive her for being insensible and don't hold it against her." Zhan Lu Er's grandfather? The person who could stop the Sky Heaven School from participating? Was it because he did not have the ability that Zhan Lu Er mentioned? Or was it because Xian Qiu's status was too high and he did not dare to offend him? Her intuition told her that it was the latter. "If she doesn't find trouble with us, I can pretend that nothing happened," Sima Yue said. Yes. I will definitely teach that girl a lesson. Thank you for not fussing over it." Zhan Xing smiled apologetically. Sima Yue came to Xian Qiu's side. "Why are you here to pick us up?" "I just happened to know, so I came," Xian Qiu said. "Let's go, I have something to ask of you." "What's the matter?" Sima Yue was a little surprised, but she still nodded. "Let's talk outside." Outside the dungeon, Xian Qiu said to Zhan Xing, "Vice President Zhan, since the matter has been resolved, we won't delay your time." Zhan Xing was an old fox who had lived for many years. He naturally understood that Xian Qiu was chasing him away. He smiled and said, "It just so happens that there are some things that I haven't settled yet. Then I won't disturb you. Goodbye." With that, he cupped his hands towards Xian Qiu and left. "I know you have doubts. Let's leave this place first and I'll tell you slowly," Xian Qiu said and left in his wheelchair. Sima Yue and Little Seven followed him out of the Alchemist Guild and came to a small courtyard. "Where is this?" Seven asked. "My temporary lodging," Xian Qiu replied. At this moment, the door opened from the inside. A servant came out and said, "Young master, you've returned." The servant came behind Xian Qiu and grabbed the wheelchair. With a little effort, the wheelchair was lifted up the stairs. Xianqiu, why did you bring us here? Sima Yue asked. I want you to do me a favor, Xianqiu said. Although Sima Yue was curious, she could only follow him into the house since he had no intention of telling her the details. You don't have to be nervous, I won't let you do anything outrageous. Xianqiu said, I just heard some things so I want you to help me. How can I help you? Sima Yue asked. You'll know when we get there. Xianqiu brought her to the backyard. Other than the flower beds, there were 2 small trees planted in flower pots. Silver trunks, emerald green needles and tiny flowers blooming on them. Do you see those 2 small trees? Xianqiu asked. Sima Yue nodded. Thinking that he could not see, she replied, I see. Do you recognize what it is? It should be the extinct silver-rooted sago tree, right? Sima Yue probed. You're really knowledgeable. Xianqiu laughed. He was not surprised that Sima Yue could recognize the 2 small trees. The silver-rooted sago tree was used as a medicine by alchemists in ancient times. Its effects were not inferior to the golden snake fruit. But for some reason it gradually became extinct. She did not expect Xianqiu to have 2. These flowers are so beautiful. They must be delicious. Little Seven drooled as she looked at the flowers. Although the flowers of the silver-rooted sago tree can be used as medicine, its effects are not as great as the fruit. But ever since they were discovered, they only bloomed but did not bear fruit. Xianqiu said regretfully. What? Is it because you planted them in such a small pot? Hee hee. Xianqiu heard Little Seven's words and laughed softly. He shook his head and said, those 2 are space containers. The soil inside is definitely enough. Then what? Little Seven was even more confused. Because their pollen did not spread. Sima Yue said. What do you mean by, not spreading? Little Seven had never blossomed before, so she didn't know what it was for. Sima Yue explained briefly and she immediately understood. So it is so troublesome for plants to bear fruit. But aren't there bees here? Little Seven came to the side of the silver-rooted sago tree and stretched out her hand to catch a bee. Other than the one in her hand, there were a few more flying on the flowers. Normal bees are useless. Xianqiu said, we have already found many types of bees to try. Sima Yue understood why he was looking for her. One of the reasons why I came to Cloud Sea City this time is to get the people from the Alchemist Guild to help us take a look. Song Changjie said that the silver-rooted sago tree used to rely on the scarlet bees to spread their pollen. Later on, the number of scarlet bees decreased and the silver-rooted sago tree gradually became extinct. As expected, when Sima Yue heard about the scarlet bees, she was almost certain of his reason for looking for her. But how did he know that she had scarlet bees? Then she thought about it. Since they met in the medicine garden, he would definitely send someone to check on her identity. It would not be difficult for him to know that she had used scarlet bees outside. At least, for someone like him, it was not difficult. Xianqiu looked at Sima Yue and said, Are you willing to help me? As a condition to keep it a secret? Sima Yue raised her eyebrows. Xianqiu shook his head, as a friend's request. Friend? Sima Yue looked at him strangely. With his status, would it be so easy for him to be friends with others? Why, do you despise me for being a handicapped person? Xianqiu smiled and mocked himself. No, I don't. I just feel that your status should be very high. Why would someone like you be friends with a nobody like me? Sima Yue said. I said before, you smell very clean. Xianqiu said, just as you said, I have very few friends but I like clean people. My hands are stained with blood. Don't you smell the blood? Sima Yue said. No. Xianqiu said, so, are you willing to help me? Sima Yue smiled and looked at the 2 silver-rooted sago trees. With a thought, dozens of scarlet bees flew out. Since he already knew that she had scarlet bees, there was no harm in helping him. Moreover, he had kept it a secret. Those scarlet bees flew to the silver-rooted sago trees and danced among the flowers. When the results are out, can you let me take a look? Okay. Although Xianqiu could not see, he scanned with his divine sense and knew that those scarlet bees were collecting honey. His smile deepened. It's a pity that I can't see, otherwise I would really want to see what they look like. Sima Yue thought for a while and said, that I am a doctor too, are you willing to let me take a look? Although she did not know his identity, it was better to be on good terms with someone that even the Alchemist Guild did not dare to offend. Chapter 994. You're a doctor? Yes. Anyway, President Xia isn't back yet, you can let me try. Sima Yue said, even if it doesn't work, the situation wouldn't be worse than it is now. All right, Xianqiu replied, let's go to the living room. When they came to the drawing room, a maid immediately came in with a cup of good tea. Sima Yue was very surprised when she saw the maid because she was actually a monarch rank expert. What was Xianqiu's identity? Please. Xianqiu placed his hand on the table and said to Sima Yue. Sima Yue retracted her gaze from the maidservant, smiled and began to check his body. Maid Xian served the tea and stood behind Xianqiu watching Sima Yue check. As Xianqiu's personal maid, she did not care about Sima Yue at all. She had seen many doctors examining her master. Every one of them was full of confidence and felt that they would definitely be able to cure him. From then on, they would be on good terms with the Xianqiu family. However, no one could maintain their previous expression after taking their pulse. She looked at Sima Yue's frown and sneered in her heart. Another person who overestimated herself. Sima Yue let go of Xianqiu and said, I still have to check your eyes and legs. All right. Xianqiu did not have much hope in his heart, but his gentle temperament made him not reject her directly. Master. Xian cried out in a low voice. How could he allow ordinary people to casually touch his body? That was a kind of blasphemy. Sima Yue raised her head and saw Xian's hostile gaze. She was stunned and asked, why? Is it inconvenient? No. Xianqiu smiled. Xian, go down. Master? Xian looked at Xianqiu in disbelief. He actually asked her to go down? For a person he just met? You will disturb her inspection if you stay here? Xianqiu's voice was faint but firm. Xian looked at Xianqiu with a wronged expression. Just let her stay. I might need her to do something later, Sima Yue said as she did not want the master and servant to fight with each other. Then you wait at the side. And then. Xian nodded, not daring to say anything else. Sima Yue went in front of Xianqiu and stretched out her hand to open his eyelids. She used her divine sense to check for a while before retreating. She took 2 steps back and said, Miss Xian, I'll have to trouble you to pull his pants up to his knees. Xian squatted down in front of Xianqiu and pulled his pants up to his knees before retreating to the side. Sima Yue pressed on his various acupuncture points and asked him about his condition. Then she retreated to the side and Xian helped him pull down his pants. Xian looked at Sima Yue. She wanted to ask her about the situation but she was afraid that Xianqiu would be angry so she could only look at her. You, how is he? Little Seven asked the question in her heart. His legs and eyes are fine, Sima Yue said. They're all good? Then why can't he walk or see? Little Seven exclaimed in surprise. That's because the nerves in his eyes and legs are being suppressed, Sima Yue said. There's something in your brain, or rather there's something sealed in your brain. That thing caused you to become like this. Xianqiu's expression finally changed but it was only for a moment. He quickly regained his usual indifference. He didn't think that Sima Yue would know about his seal. Other than him and the core members of his family, no one else knew about it. Is there a solution? He asked. Remove the seal. Naturally there will be a solution. Sima Yue said, but your seal seems to be very powerful. It won't be easy to remove it. Moreover, since it's a seal, I'm afraid removing it won't be good for your body. Just like her, the seal had loosened. In the future she would be worried that the seal would be completely removed and she would explode and die. Xianqiu was neither surprised nor disappointed by what she said. Is there no other way? Xian asked. Sima Yue sighed and said, with my current ability, there's no other way. You're already very powerful. Xianqiu smiled and said, other doctors saw my condition and none of them knew about the seal in my body. You're more powerful than them. But I can't help, Sima Yue said. You want to see the world so much but I can't help you. No, you've already helped me. Xianqiu said, at least I know the reason why I'm like this. Maybe one day I'll be able to remove the seal. Even if it's just one look at the world, it'll be good. Sima Yue saw him say such sad words so calmly and felt sorry for him. He definitely knew what his seal was but he couldn't remove it. If my medical skills improve in the future, I'll help you take a look. Maybe there's another way. Sima Yue said, but I can't guarantee that it'll work. Thank you. Xianqiu said gratefully. Didn't you say that we're friends? Since we're friends there's no need to be so polite. Sima Yue said, the people from the academy are looking for me and Little Seven. We'll take our leave first. I'll send you. On the way Xianqiu and Sima Yue chatted occasionally. Although they didn't talk much, it made each other feel comfortable. After the two of them left, the smile on Xianqiu's face gradually disappeared. Young master. An old man walked out from the courtyard. You know everything, right? Xianqiu's face flashed with fatigue. Before the seal your body was normal. After the seal you became like this. We naturally thought that it's because of the seal. The old man said. Since you know the reason, why did you watch me look everywhere for a solution? Time and time again I was disappointed. Xianqiu said dejectedly. You want to see the world so much. We also hope that there are other ways. The old man was a little emotional. We all believe that there are other ways besides this. What other ways can there be? Would you agree to remove the seal? Xianqiu looked at the old man mockingly. Would you dare? That person just now, since she could find the reason, I believe that she can find a solution. It's just a matter of time. The old man said. Do you think the possibility is high? Let me be alone. With that he left in his wheelchair. The old man looked at his lonely back and his eyes were filled with heartache. Men. When Xianqiu disappeared he called out. Great Elder. 2 men appeared in the air. Send someone to follow Sima Yue secretly. If necessary, protect her safety. The old man ordered. Yes. Remember, don't let her find out. Don't let young master know either. Yes. The 2 of them responded and their figures merged into the air and disappeared directly. Chapter 995. When Sima Yue returned to the inn, Han Miao Shuang and the others ran down from upstairs. Little junior brother, where did you go? When Instructor Mao and the others went to the union to ask for you, those people said that you had already left. Han Miao Shuang grabbed her hand and said, Are you all okay? No. Sima Yue saw that Mao San Quan and the others were also there. She said apologetically, Director Mao, I'm sorry for making you come here for nothing. It's good that you're fine. Mao San Quan said. Yue, where did you go? Wei Zheng recalled that when they went to ask for her, those people said that she and Little Seven had already left. He was very puzzled. I met a friend in the Alchemist Guild. Then he brought us out, Sima Yue said. Friends from the union? Yes, Sima Yue said. He told me not to tell anyone about him and to keep it a secret. Since that's the case, then you should go rest. Mao San Quan said, in a few days it will be the pill competition. You should practice well. There might be some unrest outside in the next few days, so don't go out casually. Yes, Director Mao. Yue and the others knew why the students were so agitated. He was afraid that the scale of the turmoil would be relatively large, and it was best for young students like them not to get involved. However, things were often not something she could avoid just because she wanted to. When Sima Yue came to the room, Wu Lingyu was not there. After looking around, she went straight to do her own thing. At this time, Wu Lingyu had just returned from outside. When he arrived at the main hall, he paused for a moment and then went to the backyard. Master. The plump shopkeeper came out of the house and bowed to Wu Lingyu. Wu Lingyu went straight to the house, casually set up a barrier, and then returned to his original appearance. Have you found anything? He had a smile on his face, but there was no warmth in his eyes. I found it. It's someone from the Xianqiu clan. The fat shopkeeper said. The people from the Xianqiu clan are here? Wu Lingyu was surprised. Who is it? Xianqiu He. The crippled young master of the Xianqiu clan? Wu Lingyu's gaze darkened. What is he doing here? They should be looking for Xia Chang Tian and Zhao Xiang Qi to heal their bodies. The fat shopkeeper said, we also received news that they brought 2 silver-rooted sago trees with them. They actually obtained that treasure? I don't know if Yu would like it, but if she does, I'll get it for her. 3 black lines appeared on the back of the fat shopkeeper's head, saying, I think young master Yu already knows. How did she know? Today Xianqiu He brought him to the place where he stayed. The fat shopkeeper said, I think he didn't look for young master Yue to chat. You went to Xianqiu He's place? Wu Lingyu frowned. Where is she now? We've already returned to the inn. The fat shopkeeper said. Before he could finish his sentence, Wu Lingyu had already disappeared from his sight. He shook his head and sighed. Master is already gay, sigh. Sima Yue was reading when she suddenly felt a flash in front of her. She raised her head and saw Wu Lingyu standing in front of her. Why did you suddenly appear? You scared me. She glared at him and said. Wu Lingyu came to her side and sat down. He reached out and hugged her waist, saying, You went to see Xianqiu He? Who is Xianqiu He? Sima Yue asked. Didn't you go to Xianqiu He's courtyard? Wu Lingyu leaned on her shoulder and said gloomily. You mean Xianqiu? Sima Yue knew who he was talking about, so Xian Qiu is his surname. Why did that blind man bail you out? You could have let me pick you up. Wu Lingyu said unhappily. You know Xian Qiu? Sima Yue asked. Don't call him so intimately. He's called Xian Qiu He. Wu Lingyu corrected. All right. Xian Qiu He, you know him? Sima Yue followed his words. We've never spoken before. It meant that they knew each other's identities. You haven't answered me yet. Why are you with him? Sima Yue told him about meeting Xian Qiu He in the herb garden. She also told him everything that happened after that to prevent someone from being jealous. Did he really just ask you for your scarlet bees? Of course. Sima Yue reached out and pinched his cheek. What else do you want? He doesn't even know that I'm a girl. Humph, even though that guy is disabled, he has harmed many girls. I'm just reminding you not to be fooled by him. Wu Lingyu said. Am I that shallow? Sima Yue increased the strength of her hand. She was also unhappy. If you were a shallow person, I wouldn't need to remind you. I'm many times more outstanding than him. Narcissist. This is called confidence. But with you, this confidence is useless. I think you're just thick-skinned. Sima Yue pinched his face with both hands. Then what's Xian Qiu He's identity? Xian Qiu clan's young master. Xian Qiu clan, is it a clan from the middle or inner regions? Sima Yue heard of this surname for the first time. She thought that Xian Qiu He's surname was Xian and his name was Qiu. Neither. Wu Lingyu said. Then what is it? They're a hidden clan. Hidden clan? Sima Yue frowned. She didn't expect Xian Qiu clan to be so powerful. Yeah, they usually don't come out. These few years, because of Xian Qiu He, they've come out more often. Wu Lingyu said, their powers are usually high and mighty. Just looking at them makes people dislike them. So you should stay away from them. Sima Yue stared at Wu Lingyu and said, why do I smell something sour? No way. Wu Lingyu refused to admit it. That immortal-like man made him very unhappy. Xian Qiu He is a good person. You'll know after you get to know him. Sima Yue said, you won't interfere with me making friends, right? Wu Lingyu looked at Sima Yue looking at him seriously. The words in his throat spun a few times. Finally he compromised. Why would I care about you? I've never cared about you. A certain someone wailed in his heart. It's not like that. It's not like that. But he knew that she didn't like it. So he could only feel uncomfortable in his heart. Alright then, it's fine. You go to your own things. I want to continue reading. I just happened to run into some problems. Sima Yue said with a smile. That's good. I'll go out for a while. I'll be back in a while. Wu Lingyu patted her head and opened the door to leave. Sima Yue waved at him, protesting that he was patting her like a puppy. But that guy had already left. Wu Lingyu left the room. His figure flashed and he appeared in the air. He locked onto a certain spot and said, come out. The person hiding in the space didn't want to come out. But after being locked onto by him, he couldn't escape even if he wanted to. He had no choice but to show himself. Wu Lingyu looked at the two people. His eyes darkened and said, people from Xian Qiu clan? Chapter 996. Read 336. The two of them looked at Wu Lingyu without saying anything. They were trying to guess his identity. He was actually able to discover them in such a situation and even lock onto their position. Why are you following her? Wu Lingyu asked. If you don't tell me then. His gaze was cold and the other party could clearly feel the dense killing intent. We're here to protect her, one of them said, indicating that they were not hostile. They saw how he interacted with her just now, and it seemed like their relationship was not ordinary. If they did anything to him, Sima Yue would definitely find them. Who asked you to protect her? Xian Qiu He? No, young master doesn't know that we're here. We are here on the orders of the Great Elder. Hearing that it was not someone sent by Xian Qiu He, Wu Lingyu heaved a sigh of relief in his heart. It seemed like that guy hadn't realized that Yue was a girl. Go back and tell Xian Qiu Lai that he doesn't need you to protect him in secret. Wu Lingyu said, if you really want to, then protect him openly. If I see you again, don't blame me for taking action. The two of them glanced at each other, then directly disappeared into the air, returning to report to Xian Qiu Liang. After Wu Lingyu finished dealing with the situation here, he returned to the inn. In the small courtyard where the Xian Qiu clan was staying, Xian Qiu Lai was listening to the report of the two guards. To be able to lock onto your position so accurately, that person must be very powerful. Xian Qiu Lai pondered. He doesn't want you to follow him? He said that if you want to protect her, you have to do it openly. You're not allowed to follow her in secret. A guard said. If you want to borrow the power of my Xianqiu clan? In your dreams. Xianqiu Lai said angrily, he's just a small alchemist. Does he really think that he's that important? Then what should we do? Since they don't allow us to follow them, then let's call them back. Xianqiu Lai said, since she has experts following her, then we don't have to worry. By the way, has the person who went to investigate her returned? Not yet. So far, the only information we have is that she's behind the city. Send the information to young master as soon as you find it. Also, get someone to make a copy for me. Yes, Grand Elder. In the following days, Sima Yue would go to the Spirit Pagoda to refine pills whenever she was free. She managed to refine quite a number of grade 7 pills. More than 10 days were equivalent to more than a year's time. She had spent more than half of her time here. This was the longest time she had spent researching pills in the past few years. After refining all the 7th grade pills in her hands, she felt that she had faintly touched the threshold of an 8th grade alchemist. In this 1 year, Han Miao Shuang and Su Xiaoxiao were also inside, practicing on their own and discussing from time to time. Wu Lingyu had also been accompanying Sima Yue. With the other half of Mo Sha's soul, he could give her more professional guidance. This was also the reason why she was able to reach the threshold of the 8th rank so quickly. On this day, Sima Yue and Wu Lingyu were refining pills in the alchemy room. One was refining pills while the other was observing. Puchi, the sound coming from the pill furnace and the smell of burning in the air indicated that the pill refining had failed. Another failure. This was already the 3rd time she had failed today. Is it that hard to refine an 8th grade pill? She sighed. Or is there something I didn't notice? Your skills are already very good. You can definitely try to break through to the 8th rank. Wu Lingyu said, you keep failing now. It should be related to the pressure on your mind. You've already been practicing here for half a year. Refining pills for a long time has made your mind tense. Why don't you go out and relax? Sima Yue thought about it and agreed. Practicing all the time might not be good. How long until the pill competition? 3 more days. So fast? Yes. There are many people here now. It's more lively than before. Wu Lingyu said, you can go out and take a look. Where are you going? Sima Yue looked at him and asked. The people from the Sage Pavilion are here. Wu Lingyu said, that old man is coming this time too. I'm afraid that the substitute won't be able to hide from him. His original plan was to let the substitute take his place to watch, but he didn't expect that old man to come too. Although the substitute looked like him, a fake was still a fake. It could fool others, but if he wanted to fool that old man, he was still lacking. He's coming too? He won't do anything to you, right? Sima Yue was a little worried. That guy was eyeing his body covetously. Of course he can't do anything now. Don't worry. Wu Lingyu came to her side and hugged her. He kissed her on the lips. Then I won't be able to see you for a few days? Sima Yue hugged his neck with both hands. When will you settle the matter with the Sage Pavilion? When I don't need this identity anymore. Wu Lingyu said, I still need this identity to roam the continent. The disciple of the Divine Devil Valley's Valley Lord can also be your identity. Sima Yue pouted. There are some things that if done with that identity, it will bring trouble to the Divine Devil Valley. Wu Lingyu explained, that old man isn't here. I can't bring a lot of trouble back for him. Speaking of Master, is there still no news of him? Sima Yue thought of Old Man Devil. He left after knowing about Feng Ruyen. She hadn't seen him for so many years. He said that he was her master, but he was comfortable being a hands-off shopkeeper. It wasn't just him. Su Jin, Feng Zhixing and every other master felt that her self-learning ability was excellent. They left after leaving some books and no one taught her properly. If not for the Spirit Pagoda, she didn't know what she would be like now. Although I don't know where he is, his life jade is with me. It's fine, which means that he's fine. You don't have to worry too much about him. He hasn't been reliable for so many years. Wu Lingyu said. That's good. Sima Yue said, this master's life jade is with you. The other master's life jade is? Sai, I don't know how Master Su, Teacher Gu and Principal Yuan are doing. You're so busy. Why are you worrying so much? Wu Lingyu said, if something happened to them, there would be people from the academy to settle it. But Master's life jade isn't with me. Sima Yue said, when eldest senior brother left, he took Master's life jade with him. The Jiang family will be participating too. I think Kang Junshou will be there too. Who knows, your eldest senior brother might be there too. Really? I'm not sure. Wu Lingyu said, let's go out and walk around. You'll meet a lot of people. Who knows, there might be something fun. Let's relax and compete properly. All right. Sima Yue wasn't interested in going out for a walk, but she really needed to relax. So she brought little Seven out for a walk. Chapter 997. Title: Chapter Goodbye. Eldest senior brother author. Ocean of Cloud City was much more bustling when the competition approached. Many people were strolling about on the streets. Some were buying things while others were watching the show. Sima Yue and Little Seven walked around casually. They didn't have a specific destination and would go wherever there was a crowd. Yu, there are a lot of fake herbs here. Little Seven came out from a stall and told Sima Yue. How do you know it's fake? I knew it the moment I smelled it. Anyway, we are not going to buy it. Let's go somewhere else. Sima Yue held her hand and said. Shouldn't we remind them? No need, they can tell by themselves. Seven nodded. Thinking about it, it made sense. The people who bought the herbs were all alchemists. If they couldn't even distinguish this, then it could only mean that these people were stupid to the point of their grandmother's home. They walked around the street and found nothing interesting, so they decided to go to a tea house to listen to the latest news. They arrived at the largest tea house in the city, and their luck was rather good. They just happened to encounter the last remaining private room. This is the best private room we have here. It was originally empty, but the last batch of guests seemed to have something urgent and left after a while. Hey, they just left when you came in. The waiter who led the way was very enthusiastic and talked to them as he walked. Sima Yue looked around the tea house as she listened to the waiter. The whole tea house was decorated very elegantly. There was a rockery and a pond in the hall. There were landscape paintings on the walls. The doors of each private room were also inscribed with China-style ink paintings or brush strokes. This is the private room. The waiter brought them to a private room on the 3rd floor. He opened the door and went in. This is facing the street. It's the most comfortable place to drink tea. Not bad indeed. Little Seven was quite fond of the interior design. She went to the window and opened it to look outside. Look, you can see the Alchemist Guild from here. Yes, if you look out from here you'll be able to see the Alchemist Guild. The waiter said, you guys wait here, I'll bring you some tea. With that he left. Sima Yue walked to the window and looked at the Alchemist Guild from afar. Your eldest senior brother. Little Seven suddenly shouted. Senior brother wouldn't come here. It should be the young master of the Jiang family. Sima Yue knew that the Jiang family would come, so she didn't care. No, it's really your eldest senior brother. Little Seven pointed at the person below. Sima Yue looked in the direction that Little Seven was pointing at. With just a glance, she was certain that the person below was Jiang Junxian. Jiang Junxian raised his head and saw Sima Yue. His eyes flashed and he disappeared around the corner. Sima Yue flew down and turned the corner. Jiang Junxian had already disappeared. She ran to the street where he disappeared. This was a crossroad. When she got there, Jiang Junxian had already disappeared. Eldest senior brother? She looked around but didn't see anyone. She just wanted to ask how her master was doing. When she returned to the private room, Xiaoqi knew what had happened. You don't be sad. Since he's here you'll see him sooner or later. Little Seven comforted. Okay. Sima Yue sat down at the tea table. The waiter had already served the tea. Why is your eldest senior brother here? Little Seven sat opposite her and asked. It should be for Kang Junshul. Sima Yue said, senior brother said that the Jiang family would come. Kang Junshul will definitely come. Then will he take revenge here? Little Seven asked. I don't know. Sima Yue said, right now I just want to ask him about Master's life jade. I don't want to ask about anything else. Then the Jiang family does owe him. It's reasonable that he wants to take revenge. But I have a feeling that he's not here just for revenge. Sima Yue said, the inner regions were involved in the Cloud Sea City incident. Could it be that eldest senior brother is here because of this? Or is he purely here for revenge? There's no point in thinking so much. Little Seven said, but when will Xia Chang Tian and the rest get rid of the traitor? Although President Xia is still in the Little Realm, his guards have already gone out to contact their people. According to their plan, they should clean up the sect before the pill competition. Sima Yue drank her tea and said lightly, there's still 2 more days. Little Seven said, but they haven't done anything. You've been staying in the Spirit Pagoda with me all day. You don't know what's going on outside. You won't know if there's any movement. Sima Yue said, we don't know, but that doesn't mean they haven't done anything. That's true. When the time comes, there'll definitely be a good show to watch. Little Seven was eager and excited. In recent years, the central and outer regions have been unstable. Most of it is because of the interference from the inner regions. They're trying to extend their evil claws to the outer regions. What exactly happened in the inner regions that caused them to break the current balance? Sima Yue knocked on the table with one hand and propped up her chin with the other as she asked suspiciously. There must be something that we don't know. Little Seven said, when there's a chance in the future we'll go there and take a look. But we can't do it now. You're not strong enough. You'll be at a disadvantage if you go. Sima Yue was speechless. She was being looked down on again. Speaking of which, she had been too busy recently. She hadn't had a breakthrough in her cultivation for a long time. She rubbed her forehead. Now she finally understood why those professional masters had lower cultivation than others. It was simply a waste of time. When my strength increases, I'll definitely go, she said confidently. There were many reasons why she had to go there. They rested in the tea house for a while before preparing to leave. Just as they stepped out of the private room, they heard a commotion below. There's someone arguing below. Little Seven said, there's someone we know. We'll know what's going on when we go down and take a look, Sima Yue said. They went downstairs and saw Jianghu arguing with two people. After hearing a few words, they knew that it was that Missy's superior mentality causing trouble again. She insisted on snatching the empty private room from them. Little Seven walked down and saw Jianghu standing in the main hall. The group of guards behind her was especially eye-catching. Jianghu, you like to wander around and find trouble with others when you have nothing to do. Do you want to show off your superiority? Little Seven mocked. Who's there? Jianghu raised her head and saw Little Seven and Sima Yue coming down the stairs. Her originally arrogant face instantly darkened. It's these two people again. She didn't think that these two people would be related to that big shot. Not only did she not teach them a lesson the last time, she was even taught a lesson by her grandfather. Now that she saw them, she was filled with anger. Gentlemen's alliance. Chapter 998. Jianghu wanted to teach them a lesson, but thinking of her grandfather's warning, she suppressed the anger in her heart. Grandpa said that these people were just clowns and it didn't matter how he dealt with them. But since they were related to that person, he couldn't touch them. Thinking of those heaven-shaking faces, her heart rippled, and she found them a little more pleasing to the eye. Since they were that person's friends, she didn't want to argue with them about the previous conflict. Sima Yue looked at her changing expression and did not know what she was thinking. Otherwise, she would vomit blood in her heart. Why are you guys here? Jianghu forced a smile at them, but the other party did not buy it. Little Seven looked at her and couldn't help but shiver. She rubbed her arms and said, what are you trying to do? Don't look at me like that. Jianghu endured and endured. In her heart, she told herself not to be angry. Thinking of Shen Xiuhi's face, she finally endured it. Ugly woman, are you bullying others here again? Little Seven asked. We're just here to drink tea. Who asked them to be so blind to actually want to snatch the private room from us? Jianghu said. We were clearly here first. A woman wearing a light yellow dress said. But I booked it first. Jianghu said. You clearly sent someone to tell the waiter that you've already cancelled it. The other party said, since it's already cancelled, then it doesn't count. I don't want to cancel it now. Jianghu gave him a bite-me look. Do you think your grandpa will still help you if he finds out? Sima Yue walked down the stairs and asked. She observed these people from the stairs and could see that they were very powerful. However, they had been suppressing it and did not intend to reveal their identities. Originally, she would not care about such things. However, the person who provoked them was Jianghu so it was fine for her to say something. You. Jianghu looked at Sima Yue, then at the rest of the people. She was really unsure of the answer to her question. Seeing Little Seven wave her fist, she gritted her teeth and waved to the people behind her, saying, let's go. The guards of the Alchemist Guild stood there in astonishment. She actually left just like that? Some of the guards had been with her the last time, so they knew how powerful Little Seven was. They also knew why Jianghu would compromise. Go. Jianghu glared at them fiercely. She could not do anything to these people, but could she not command her own people? In the end, those people left with their tails between their legs. Those people didn't expect that the group of people who were so arrogant just now would actually leave because of these two people. Thank you for your help. One of the men cupped his hands and thanked Sima Yue. I'm just passing by. Although hiding one's identity is sometimes necessary, but for someone like Jean Lu, the most direct way is to use one's identity to suppress her, Sima Yue said to that person. You know about us? I don't know. Sima Yue glanced at them and said to Little Seven, let's go back. After saying that, she and Little Seven left the tea house, leaving the two of them with their backs. She left just like that? The lady in yellow said in disbelief. They all know that our identities are not ordinary, but they didn't take the opportunity to strike up a conversation? This means that they don't care about our identities at all. The Gu family should be here soon. Let's go up and wait for them. Manager, if someone comes looking for the Sima family later, tell them where our private room is. The lady in yellow instructed the manager. All right, everyone follow me. The manager said and personally led them to the private room upstairs. Sima Yue didn't expect that these people would be from the Sima family, so she left without looking back and continued to shop with Little Seven. Little Seven also didn't have the chance to shop properly in Cloud Sea City, so Sima Yue accompanied her for the entire day. In the evening they arrived at a spirit stone shop. This is the biggest spirit stone shop they were talking about, the stone pavilion, right? Sima Yue looked at the two-word stone pavilion on the door of the shop. It was the same as the branch shop she saw the last time. She looked at the sea of people inside and said, there are indeed many people. Let's go, it's more fun with more people. Little Seven said. She heard from Fatty and the others that Sima Yue cheated people in the spirit stone shop the last time, so she always felt that the spirit stone shop was a fun place. Since she was here, she definitely had to take a good look. Sima Yue went in with her. It was very lively inside, many people were chatting, and the most lively place was at the stone opening area. If a spirit stone was opened, it would definitely attract everyone's attention. Little Seven ran over to see those people choosing L stone, then followed them to the stone opening area. Sima Yue saw her excited look and helplessly followed behind her, while looking at a few stone openings. She had to admit that the stone opening rate here was quite high. She looked at it for half an hour, and the probability of a spirit stone opening was almost 1 in 3, which was considered quite high in the stone gambling industry. Young lady, I saw that you've been walking around here for a while, do you want to buy one yourself to try? A shop assistant saw Little Seven squatting down and learning from the person beside her, so he persuaded her. Meh. Little Seven pointed at herself. Yes, I saw that you were walking around here, you should be very interested in this, right? Since that's the case, why not buy one and try it? The shop assistant continued, the probability of a spirit stone opening is quite high. If it's a spirit stone, then you'll make a fortune. What if I don't get one? Open a few more, you'll definitely get a spirit stone. The shop assistant smiled and said, anyway, you won't lose out in stone gambling here. Little Seven was a little tempted, but she didn't have any money on her, so she could only look at Sima Yue. Sima Yue couldn't resist her gaze at all. If you want to play, then choose. Thank you, Yue. Little Seven hugged Sima Yue excitedly, then went to choose L stone. Sima Yue looked at the stone she chose and couldn't help but shake her head. But she saw that Little Seven was so excited, and the stones she chose weren't expensive, so she didn't say anything and let her play by herself. The shop assistant saw that Little Seven was so forthright, and was overjoyed, so he guided Little Seven to choose 10 stones. Young lady, do you want to open the stone here? The shop assistant smiled and asked. Of course I want to open it. Little Seven said, since I'm already here, of course I want to open it. All right. Then follow me. The surrounding people had already noticed Little Seven, and saw that she chose 10 L stones in less than half an hour, so they all wanted to see the results. Chapter 999. Little Seven asked the waiter to carry the L stone to the area with the least number of people. There were only 3 to 5 people waiting there. Little girl, let's wait here. Little Seven looked at the other places. There were a few people waiting there. She nodded. This little girl bought so much? The person in front of her saw the pile of 10 L stones beside Little Seven and said with some surprise. Usually, everyone would choose 2 or 3 at a time. Choosing 5 or 6 would be considered a lot. He didn't expect her to choose 10. Yeah, it's my first time playing this, so I bought a few more. Little Seven was in a good mood and actually started chatting with others. Little girl, your courage is commendable. Since this is your first time playing this game, I'll let you start first. A big man laughed. I'll let you go first too. Since they've given in, I'll give in to you too. Now the people in front of her all said that she should go first. She went from the last to the first. The person who was cutting the stone turned back to look at them, then turned back to continue watching the master cutting the stone. Little Seven went over curiously, wanting to see what kind of spirit stones it could cut out. The stone cutter used a tool knife to peel off the outermost layer of the stone. The stone that was as big as a child's head was peeled off until it was as big as a fist, but there was still no movement. The buyer became more and more nervous, and his forehead was covered in sweat. It's already so small, yet there's still no movement. I'm afraid it's a white stone. Someone whispered. The master was very calm. He peeled the stone layer by layer until the stone became the size of a walnut. Then he asked, "Do you still want to cut it?" Tiske. The master put away the knife, took out a piece of sandpaper and carefully polished it. When the stone became the size of a peanut, the man stood up in disappointment. He stood to the side, wanting to see Little Seven's results. It's my turn, it's my turn. Little Seven hugged a stone and placed it on the stone table. She looked expectantly at the master who was opening the stone. The master took Little Seven's stone and looked at it. How do you cut it? How do we cut it? Little Seven scratched her head and said, I don't know about this either, just cut it however you want. The master looked up at Little Seven and lowered his head, preparing to cut. Just cut it off. Sima Yue said. Lil Seven looked at Sima Yue and said, all right, let's cut it off. The master took out a tool knife and followed Sima Yue's instructions and cut it down the middle. The knife cut through the stone, revealing the white Huahua stone. White stone. Master said lightly. Continue. Little Seven said. The master took half of it and cut it in half again. It was still white stone. The master cut it in half again twice, but it was still the same. Cut this one, cut it like this. Seven carried the other one and placed it on the stone table. She casually gestured. The master took the L stone and cut it according to Little Seven's instructions. It was still white stone. Again. Seven said unwillingly. One by one the L stones were cut open. They were all white stones. The surrounding people sighed. His luck was truly unparalleled. The 10 L stones were all cut open. Other than the last one that had a little bit of green, the rest were all white stones. You. Little Seven pouted and looked at Sima Yue. You chose it yourself. Sima Yue shrugged. Little Seven walked over and pulled her hand. You go and choose. Let's take a look. Sima Yue was not in a rush. She brought her to other places. The fact that Little Seven bought 10 white stones had already attracted the attention of the other shop assistants. Every time she went somewhere, they would introduce it to her eagerly, wanting her to buy more. Little Seven looked at the L stones and was moved. Especially when she saw the spirit stones that others had cut out, she was even more excited. She jumped around even more than others. Sima Yue looked at her and shook her head helplessly. She gave her some money and told her to go and play by herself. Little Seven took the crystal card and jumped around. After a while she came back with 10 L stones. Sima Yue looked at the stones she chose and was speechless. Including the previous 10, there were a total of 10. She actually didn't choose a good one. Aha, I'll go and cut the stones. Little Seven asked the shop assistant to move the L stones to the place where the stones were cut open. Sima Yue didn't want to look, so she went to the ore area and observed the ores. It's you? A clear voice came from behind. Sima Yue felt that it was familiar. She turned around and saw the people she met at the tea house. It's you guys. She nodded at them. Are you here to choose spirit stones too? Where's your little sister? Sima Yue pointed at the area where the stones were cut open. Little Seven was there anxiously watching the master cut open the stones. You let her go and cut open the stones alone? Alright, I'm Sima Chi. This is Sima Xan Shu, Sima Yifei and Sima Yun. The lady in the yellow dress introduced to Sima Yue. When Sima Yue heard their names, her eyes flashed with surprise. But in that instant she suppressed it. She knew that their status wasn't low, but she didn't expect them to be from the Sima family. I'm Siyu, that's Little Seven. Sima Yue said. How's your selection going? Sima Yun looked like an indifferent lady. When she smiled, it made people feel comfortable. She's playing over there. I haven't chosen yet. Sima Yue said, are you here to choose spirit stones too? We're just looking around. Sima Chi said, it's our first time in Cloud Sea City, so we're just walking around. Since Little Seven is cutting open stones over there, let's go and take a look. Little Seven was extremely depressed. She had already cut open 6 L stones, but she didn't get a single spirit stone. She looked at Sima Yue and saw her looking over. It's not out again. Sima Yue walked over and said, "Isn't it not over yet? Let's wait until it's all out." Little Seven took another L stone and placed it on the stone table. This time there was no surprise, it was still a white stone. "Don't be discouraged." Sima Yue comforted. "What kind of luck do I have? So many stones, but I didn't even get a single spirit stone." Little Seven said dejectedly. "Don't worry, you won't go back empty-handed." Sima Yue patted her head. When Little Seven heard what she said, her eyes shone and said excitedly, Are you saying that I have spirit stones here? What do you think?" "Aha, I'm motivated again." Little Seven ran back excitedly and stared at the master who was cutting open the stones for her. Sima Yifei and the other three walked over. When they saw the white stones beside Little Seven, they said in surprise, "She bought all these?" Sima Yue nodded. "So many? How many spirit stones did she get?" Sima Chi asked. Sima Yue looked at the white stones on the ground. Her eyes said it all. Chapter 1000. Book title, Zhang Xiaoqi's Luck, 2. Author. After that he opened another one. This time his luck was better and he opened a spirit stone. However, its quality was ordinary and its value was not high. Look, is this valuable?" Little Seven showed the spirit stone to Sima Yue. "It's alright. Let's see what happens later." Little Seven went back and asked the master to continue opening the stone. The other two Sima Yue stood at the side and watched quietly. It was only until the last one that she walked to the front and said to the master, "Cut it here and polish it on both sides." According to Sima Yue's request, the master cut the rock into two parts, one big and one small. Then he picked up the small part and started to polish it. Little Seven looked at the master nervously. Yue didn't ask for anything in the past. Now that she had made a request, there must be a chance. "Are you a seeker spirit master?" Sima Yin asked. "Does a dabbler count?" Sima Yue asked. "A half-baked seeker spirit master is already very powerful." Sima Chi said, "You have to know that seeker spirit masters like Third Master Mo are very rare. Even people from the inner regions knew about Third Mo. It seemed like he was quite famous." Soon the stone-cutting master opened the first spirit stone. The dark green color immediately attracted the attention of the surrounding people. Heavens, it's a dark green spirit stone. You can actually find dark green spirit stones here. This one is worth the price of these 10. It's not just these 10. Even if you add up the previous 10, it still can't compare to this price. That's right. What a turn of events. Hearing their words, Little Seven smiled happily. She knew it. How could she be so unlucky? She couldn't even get a single spirit stone out of the 20 stones. This was what it meant when one didn't call it out, but once it was called out, it was astonishing. There was also a smile in the master's eyes. To them, opening a spirit stone was a happy thing. "Little girl, keep this well." He handed the spirit stone to Little Seven and said to the person behind him, "Next." "Wait a minute." Sima Yue stopped him. "Master, please open the other half. There are no spirit stones in this small stone, but if you want, I can open it for you." This stone-cutting master had a gentle temperament, unlike other stone-cutting masters who would get angry because the customer's request was contrary to their own ideas. He picked up the other half of the stone and carefully polished it. Soon the stone was reduced to the size of an egg. There's only so much left. Will there be spirit stones inside?" Little Seven asked. "Just wait and see." Sima Yue smiled. Sima Yifei and the others watched quietly from the side. They were considered to be experienced and knowledgeable. It wasn't like in or that yielded 2 spirit stones had never happened before. They were more interested in the confident smile on her face. That smile was faint, but it made people believe her from the bottom of their hearts. It made people feel that there really were spirit stones inside the stone. Layer after layer of stone skin was slowly removed. Just as everyone was about to lose their confidence, the stone skin was no longer white. There is color. It doesn't look green. It's a little red. We'll know when the last layer of stone is removed. When the stone-cutting master saw the faint red color, he was first surprised, then he became excited. No matter how big the spirit stone was, as long as it was of other colors, the value would be multiplied several times. His hand movements became gentler, as if he was protecting his own child. Very quickly this spirit stone appeared in everyone's sight. It was an intoxicating red color, the size of a walnut and shaped like a little heart. It made people like it immediately. So beautiful. Little Seven's cheers woke up the surrounding spectators. Little girl, I'll give you 50,000 crystals for this spirit stone. Sell it to me. Little girl, I'll give you 60,000, 70,000. The price quickly went over 100,000, but Little Seven had no intention to sell it. She took the spirit stone and played with it in her hands. Little girl, if you're willing, our stone pavilion is willing to buy it. No. Little Seven shook her head and said, such a beautiful spirit stone, I want to keep it for myself. The people who were bidding at the side were disappointed. Some wanted to persuade her again. Little girl, you can consider the price I'm offering. This price is already much higher than its value. Not selling, not selling. Little Seven waved her hand impatiently and took the spirit stone to Sima Yue and said, Yu, look, it's so beautiful. It's indeed beautiful. Sima Yue saw that she liked it so much and smiled. You can wait for Fatty and the rest to come out and ask him to make a necklace for you to wear around your neck. But Fatty and the rest still have many years before they come back from the little realm. Little Seven couldn't wait to get the necklace. Then after the things here are over, we'll go back to the sect to find an armament master to make one. Then when can we go back? I don't know how long the competition will take. This thing is already with you. Just wait for a few more days. Sima Yue said uncertainly. Miss Little Seven, if you can't wait, I can try. Sima Yi said. You know how to refine armaments? Little Seven asked. If the grade you want isn't too high, I can try. Sima Yi said. It's not high, it's not high. I don't need those defensive functions. I just want it to look good and match with this spirit stone. Little Seven said excitedly. Then I'll tell you when I'm done. When will you be done? Tomorrow. Tomorrow afternoon you can go to the place where we're staying to get it. Okay. I'll definitely go tomorrow afternoon. After some back and forth, the matter was settled. Sima Yue couldn't stop it in time. Feng Zhixing didn't tell her too many things, so she wasn't sure if she had any contact with the Sima family. She also didn't know if too much contact would bring her trouble. She wanted to keep a distance from them, but seeing Little Seven's excited look, she swallowed the words of rejection. Do you want to continue playing? Not playing. Little Seven shook her head. With the spirit stone in her hand, she wasn't interested in anything else. Then let's go back. See you, we want to choose a few ores. Can you help us to check? Sima Yin said. I've only learned a little bit. It's not enough to help others choose ores. It's good if they can open spirit stones. If they can't, then it's not good. Sima Yue declined. That's better than us who don't know anything. Sima Yun laughed. If you let us choose, then we'll be blindly choosing. If we can't open spirit stones, then we'll be responsible for it. Little Seven didn't know the identity of these people. She pulled Sima Yue's hand and said, You help them. They want to help me refine a necklace. Chapter 1001. Sima Yue looked at Little Seven, who raised her head and blinked her big eyes. She said helplessly, You guys better not listen to my opinion. This meant that he agreed. Sima Yi and Sima Xnshu exchanged glances and said, Since that's the case, then let's go inside to choose the ores. They came from large clans, so they didn't care about the ores outside. Just like the stone pavilions in other places, this place was also divided into several areas. Each area had a different level, and the level of the spirit stones it contained was also different. Of course, the price of ores was different. Sima Yue followed them to the second area. Sima Chi and Sima Yun were already choosing stones in front of the ore area. Sima Xnshu, Sima Yun and Sima Yue came to the area and said, See you, help us choose a few. You're letting me choose? Sima Yue asked. Help us take a look first, then we'll buy according to our situation. Sima Xnshu said. Sima Yue did not know what they were thinking, so she randomly chose 10 of them. Sima Xnshu paid the money without hesitation and kept the spirit stones without a second thought. After coming out from the stone pavilion, Sima Yi gave the address to Sima Yue and the rest and said, Come tomorrow, you should have finished refining. Then he gave them the address. All right. We will definitely pay them a visit then. Sima Yue said and left with Little Seven. After they left, Sima Chi then asked Sima Yi, Why did you ask him to help us choose ores? We didn't plan to buy this, did we? Why do you suddenly want to buy this? Of course we have our uses. Sima Xnshu said, You will know later. Chi-Chi, they probably want to test how many spirit stones see you can pick out every day and then decide if this person has the qualifications to be our friend. Sima Yi-yun explained. Let's go, I'll go back and refine a necklace for her. After you guys go back, find someone to open those 10 ores and see how many you can get. Sima Yi-fei said. Alright, leave the matter of the ores to us. Sima Yi-yun said. They returned to the small courtyard where they were staying. Sima Yi-yun went to refine a necklace for Little Seven while Sima Yi-yun and the other two went to look for a master who knew how to open stones. On the morning of the second day, Sima Yi-fei came out from his room and went to look for Sima Yi-yun and the rest. What was the result yesterday? He asked when he saw them. Sima Chi-Chi was telling Sima Yi-yun about yesterday's results and they were still very surprised. Seeing how anxious he was, she said, make a guess first. 3, 4. Sima Yi-fei guessed. The two beauties shook their heads. 5. The two beauties shook their heads. There can't be 6 of them, right? Sima Yi-fei said in astonishment. The two beauties still shook their heads. Don't tell me there are only 1 or 2. Sima Yi-fei didn't continue guessing. Not really. Sima Yi-yun saw that her brother had guessed so many times and still hadn't guessed correctly, so she said with a smile, it's 7. Moreover, there were 5 spirit stones of different colors. The other 2 aren't low grade either. 7. 70% chance of producing stones? Really? Sima Yi-fei didn't believe it. Absolutely true, guaranteed to be replaced with a fake. It's actually 70%. Sima Yi-fei was stunned and was shocked by this result. Looks like this so-called dabbler is not only at the level of a dabbler. Also, I found out something. Sima Yi-yun said. What? I was just telling Chi-Chi that when he chose the stones yesterday, I observed carefully and found out that when he chose the ores, there were a few that he chose seriously, a few that he casually looked at and a few that he casually took. Sima Yi-yun said. Younger sister, you've always been more meticulous. Then did you remember the spirit stones that he chose? Sima Yi-yun asked. I did. Sima Yi-yun nodded, that's what surprised me. What? I memorized the expression of every single one that he chose. When I came back, I specially distinguished it according to the time he chose and his expression at that time. Guess what I found out? Sima Yi-yun kept him in suspense. You can tell me directly. Sima Yi-fei had already guessed it in his heart, but he felt that his thoughts were a little scary, so he asked directly. Sima Yi-yun understood her brother and knew that he wanted to know the answer but didn't want to guess. I found out that the 5 that he chose carefully were all different colored spirit stones that had good spirit stones. Out of the 5 that he casually chose, 2 of them were normal spirit stones and 3 of them were white stones. Sima Yi-yun said, I think this isn't a coincidence. You're saying that those that he chose carefully, the rate of opening the stones was 100%. Sima Yi-fei was speechless. That's right. Sima Chi-Chi said, although these ores are easy to identify, but to do it 100%, it's not an ordinary seeker spirit master. It can be done. This CU is indeed not an ordinary person. Sima Yi-fei said. Yi-fei, why did you think of testing him? Sima Chi-Chi asked curiously. If it wasn't for Sima Yi-fei who thought of this method to buy ores, they wouldn't have found out that Sima Yue was such a powerful seeker spirit master. I actually didn't want to test him, I was just curious. Sima Yi-fei said, look at Little Seven. When she was opening the stones, he kept staying at the side, but at the last moment, he directly hit the vital point. I thought that he's not bad. If he's powerful enough, we can be friends with him. What if he's not powerful enough to be friends with our Sima family? If it's an ordinary person. If you want to be friends, why do you need to have enough power? The friendship of a gentleman is as light as water. The friendship of a villain is as sweet as wine. Sima Xnshu walked in from outside, and when he heard Sima Yi-fei's words, he voiced out his thoughts. I was just thinking that he was able to make the people from the Alchemist Guild leave with their tails between their legs and knew that our status wasn't ordinary, but they left just like that, so I was curious. Sima Yi-fei said. The result is indeed very surprising. Sima Chi-Chi said. Alright, you said you would refine a necklace for them, is it done? You can't go back on your words if they come in the afternoon. Sima Yi-yun asked. It's done. Sima Yi-fei took out a necklace. When they come in the afternoon, just insert the spirit stone in it and it'll be done. It's best that you don't go back on your words, but I got people to check on CU and Little Seven. Guess what news I got? Sima Xinshu said. What? There's no CU, but there's one Sima Yue. Sima Yue? The 3 of them cried out in unison. Is she from our family? Chapter 1002. The ranking of the Yu generation should be unique to our family. Sima Yifei said. Then she's from our clan? It may be, but it may also not be. Sima Xnshu said, I asked Uncle Lu Feng about it after I found out. He said that we had chased some of our clansmen out. Then could this Sima Yue be the descendant of the people who were chased out? Sima Chi asked. I think the possibility is very high. Sima Xnshu said, and I think she knows our identities? How so? According to the information we've gathered, she has been using her real name ever since she arrived at Cloud Sea City. She only used the name Siyu in front of us. This shows that she doesn't want us to know her identity. Sima Xinshu analyzed. She is hiding from us. Sima Yifei said. Even if she's not from our family, she doesn't have to hide from us, right? Sima Chi said, we're not wolves, tigers, or leopards. There must be a reason that we don't know. Sima Yiyun said. Then let's go and explore. Sima Xnshu was even more interested in Sima Yue. Don't forget our purpose for coming here this time. Sima Yiyun said. That won't happen. But the alchemy competition is your business. I'm just here to join in the fun and dig out some interesting things. Sima Yifei said. He didn't know how to refine pills in the first place and he was only here to play with them. Refining artifacts was his forte. Sima Yiyun looked at her brother and knew that he was completely interested in Sima Yue, especially after knowing that she was a member of the Sima family. She will come to collect the necklace this afternoon just in time? Sima Yifei touched the necklace in his hand and smiled. We don't know what's going on yet, so don't act recklessly. Furthermore, Uncle Lu Yun and Uncle Lu Feng were on their way here. He said he wanted to confirm some things. Sima Xinshu said. Both of them are coming? Sima Chi and the others were shocked. What are they coming for? I don't know. Sima Xnshu shook his head. After I told them Sima Yue's name, they said they wanted to come and take a look. That's fine too. Something must be related to her. It can't be? Even the two great Buddhas were alarmed. This is not an ordinary matter. Sima Yifei said. So don't talk nonsense. We'll talk after Uncle Lu Yun and the others arrive. They should be here in the afternoon. Sima Xnshu reminded. I know. Sima Yifei was a little discouraged. Xnshu, don't worry. If it's someone else, it's fine. But if it's those two uncles, he won't dare to act recklessly. Sima Chi teased with a smile. This guy was usually frivolous, but in front of those two uncles he was very obedient. I think so too. Sima Xinshu nodded. Reporting to young master and young miss, young master Siyu is here. A guard came over and reported to the four of them. Why are you here so early? It was still quite some time before noon. Young master Siyu said that little Seven couldn't wait any longer, so he came over earlier. Uncle Lu Feng told us to wait for him. How about this? The three of us will go out first and say that the necklace isn't ready yet. You wait here for Uncle Lu Yun and the rest. Sima Xinshu said. All right. Sima Yue and little Seven sat in the living room. One was drinking tea calmly while the other was moving around on the chair, looking at the door from time to time. Two maids stood behind them and looked at Sima Yue carefully. This was that seeker spirit master? She looked so young. Sorry to have kept you waiting. Sima Xnshu, Sima Chi and Sima Yiyun walked in from outside and cupped their hands towards Sima Yue. Little Seven jumped down from the chair and said happily, My necklace. That person isn't here? Yifei is refining the necklace for you now. It should be done in a while. You guys wait here for a while. Sima Xnshu said with a smile. Sima Yue pulled little Seven back and said apologetically to Sima Xnshu, You guys don't have to bother about her. Little Seven, come back and sit down. Sima Xnshu and the other two sat down and a maid immediately came up to serve them tea. Because the opening of the stone was delayed for a while after he came back yesterday, he will only be able to come out later. But I think he should be out soon. We're the ones who came early. Little Seven couldn't sit still in the inn and insisted on coming over. Sima Yue said with a smile. I can see that Miss Little Seven really likes that spirit stone, that's why she couldn't wait. Sima Yiyun said. That's the first spirit stone that she opened that is not bad. The color and appearance are nice, so she likes it very much. Oh right, speaking of choosing stones, the ores that you chose for us yesterday really opened our eyes. Sima Xinshu said. Why, don't tell me you didn't open a single one. Sima Yue saw their strange expressions and thought that it shouldn't be. She had chosen a few seriously. No, it's because your rate of opening stones is too shocking. How many are there? Sima Yue thought to herself. Was it too many? 7. Sima Yun said. 7? So many? Sima Yue was a little shocked herself. She only chose 5 and casually chose 5 white stones. How could there be 7? Her expression made Sima Yun and the others puzzled. Did she not know the ores that she chose? How would they know that Sima Yue chose 5 good ones because she wanted to suppress her own strength and not let them lose too much? Then she really chose the remaining 5 casually, and it didn't look like they would open spirit stones. She didn't expect that there were 2 fish that slipped through the net. See you, your rate of opening stones is something that even those so-called seeker spirit masters can't guarantee. Sima Chi looked at Sima Yue with admiration. I guess it's just good luck. Sima Yue laughed. Oh my god, if she knew earlier, she would have chosen the remaining 5 carefully. She would have chosen all white stones. See you, where are you from? Just when she was regretting her actions, Sima Xnshu's voice pulled her back from her thoughts. I came from a small place. Later on, I was lucky enough to enter the academy. This time, I'm following the academy to broaden my horizons. Sima Yue said. Then you want to participate in the alchemy competition? I know a little. The teachers think that I can learn more by coming. I wonder if you have any relatives? Sima Chi's question made Sima Yue's heart skip a beat. They asked about her relatives. Was it a coincidence or did they already know something? I have a few brothers and grandpa. There are fewer people in my family. Then what about your parents? Sima Xnshu asked. My parents passed away when I was young. Really? You don't know or you don't plan to acknowledge your parents? A sharp voice came from outside, and following that, Sima Yifei walked in with 2 men. Remember, after reading, it's convenient for the next time, or... Chapter 1003. Read 336. One was calm and refreshing, while the other had an extraordinary aura. When Sima Yue saw them appear, she had a bad premonition. That person's words just now were too profound. Uncle Lu Feng, Uncle Lu Yun. Sima Chi and the others all stood up. Uncle Lu Yun? Sima Lu Yun? Was it the Sima Lu Yun that they told her about before? Sima Yue looked at the 2 people who came in. She did not know who was who. You are Sima Yue? Sima Lu Yun came to the main seat and sat down, looking at Sima Yue. Sima Yue squinted her eyes and looked at Sima Xinshu and the rest. Don't misunderstand. It's because your stone production rate is too high that I sent someone to check on you. I didn't expect you to be from the Sima family. Sima Xnshu explained when he saw that Sima Yue was a little angry. So, what are you trying to do? Who are these 2? This is Uncle Lu Yun, this is Uncle Lu Feng. Sima Xnshu introduced her. We don't have any other intentions, it's just that after knowing your name, we asked Uncle Lu Feng if you were in the family. In the end, when they heard your name, they said that they would rush over. Sima Yue looked at them and the anger in her heart continued to rise. She was angry at them and angry at herself. If he hadn't chosen those ores for them, they wouldn't have investigated him, leading to the current situation. Yu. Lil, 7 could feel Sima Yue's anger and helplessly grabbed onto her clothes. She knew about Yue and her relationship with the Sima family. If she hadn't asked them to make a necklace for her, they wouldn't have had any interactions. It's not your fault. Sima Yue patted her head. At that time, she didn't know that these people were from the Sima family, so she couldn't be blamed for this. She raised her head and looked at Sima Lu Yun, saying, I'm Sima Yue, so? Sima Lu Feng and Sima Lu Yun looked at Sima Yue but didn't say anything. If they didn't speak, the others didn't dare to speak either. When did you find out about your situation? Sima Lu Yun pulled a long face and asked. Why should I answer your question? Sima Yue said, I don't even know you. I'm your uncle. Sima Lu Yun said. I don't know any uncle. Sima Yue said, although my father is not the only son, my uncles died when I was young. Along with my grandma and the others. Are you talking about the Yilin continent Sima family? Sima Lu Feng said, I heard your father mention it before. My father? Sima Lu Xian, your father's name. Sima Lu Yun said. Sima Yue was silent. She finally knew her father's name, but it was not the time she wanted to know. What kind of reaction is this? Shouldn't you be agitated? Sima Lu Feng looked at Sima Yue's calm face and said in astonishment. Agitated for what? Sima Yue looked at him. You bunch of people appeared out of nowhere and told me that you're my family? Then. What do you want me to say? Ask you where is my so-called father? Why did he abandon me and ask you how to deal with me? I think it's not an impulsive action to put me in a low-grade continent, right? Little girl, you're really resentful. Sima Lu Feng sighed. Don't you think that maybe everything isn't what you think it is? What I think it is? No, you're wrong. I didn't think about anything. Sima Yue said, when Master mentioned my father, I didn't think about anything. I didn't think about how he looked like, I didn't think about why he handed me over to grandfather, I didn't think about why he didn't come to see me for so many years. I don't have any illusions about him. Master? Oh. Sima Lu Yin asked. Don't tell me it's that guy Feng Zhixing? Sima Lu Feng said. Sima Yue silently agreed. Damn, that guy actually secretly went to Yilin continent. Sima Lu Feng shouted, damn it, he didn't even bring me along when he went. What did he say to you? He didn't say anything, he just mentioned a little. He didn't even tell me his name. Sima Yue said, since you've already made your relationship clear, why don't you tell me why you threw me to the lower continent? Your father cares a lot about you. He never thought of abandoning you. Sima Lu Yun said, wait till you know the truth, you'll understand. The truth? What truth? You can tell me now or you can keep on not telling me. There are many things that happened that year. You're still young, it's not suitable for you to know. Sima Lu Feng said. This again. Sima Yue smiled, since that's the case, why are you telling me this now? Sima Lu Feng was at a loss for words. They really couldn't tell her what happened that year and couldn't bring her back to the clan. Then why did they rush over in such a hurry? We want to confirm if you're safe. Sima Lu Yin said. I'm fine now and I'm safe. So if there's nothing else, I'll head back first. Sima Yue pulled Little Seven and turned to leave. Little Seven looked back at Sima Yi's necklace on his hand reluctantly. He understood and threw the necklace to Little Seven. Sima Yue noticed their actions but didn't stop them. She pulled Little Seven and left. The house fell into silence again. After a while, Sima Chi gathered her courage and said, so, Sima Yue is a girl? She's our younger sister? I didn't expect Uncle Lu Xian to have a daughter and we met her coincidentally. Sima Yun said. That guy is actually a girl. She doesn't look like one at all. Sima Yifei was even more curious about Sima Yue. He guessed that she might be the descendant of the clan members who were chased out. He didn't expect her to be such a close relative. The most important thing was that such a powerful person was actually a girl. A girl was actually so powerful. How were they going to live? Luckily he didn't specialize in this. When he went back, he would let that arrogant seeker spirit master in the clan know what was the real deal. Uncle Lu Yun, you're letting her go just like that? Sima Chi thought they would stay for a while. She didn't expect them to really let her go. We appeared too suddenly. She needs time to digest it. We also need time to know what happened to her all these years. Sima Lu Yun said, send someone to check on her, everything that happened all these years. Everything? Send the shadow team. Sima Lu Yun said, let them check on everything before the end of the alchemy competition. Sima Xan Shu and Sima Yifei were flabbergasted. They actually wanted to send the shadow team to check. This had never happened before. Chapter 1004. Won't the Shadow Squad be discovered by the family? Now isn't the time to let the clan know that she's back. Sima Lu Feng asked worriedly. I always thought that she was still in the Yilin continent. Who would have thought that she was already here? We need to know about her as soon as possible so that we can protect her for Lu Xian. Sima Lu Yin said, as for the shadow team, it shouldn't be a problem if we control them well. That's true. Sima Lu Feng nodded. Since that's the case, then let them investigate. In the following days they kept receiving news about Sima Yue one after another. They were shocked and their understanding of her was constantly refreshed. On the other side, Sima Yue returned to the inn. Little Seven followed beside her, not daring to even breathe loudly. She returned to her room and set up a barrier before entering the spirit pagoda. Grandfather. She came to Sima Lai's room and called out softly. Sima Lai had already withdrawn from his cultivation before she had arrived. After advancing to the divine rank, he had become younger and younger. He opened the door and saw that Sima Yue did not look too good. He asked, Yue, what's wrong? Grandpa, I want to talk to you. Sima Lai turned sideways to let her enter the house. What happened? Sima Yue sat down on the chair and looked at him. Grandfather, did my father say anything when he handed me over to you? What did he say? Sima Lai recalled that afternoon when he had just returned from the imperial palace. When he walked to the main gate of his residence, he saw the person who had saved him. Several decades had passed, but he was still the same as before. What was different from before was that there was a child in his hands, and there was a lot of grief on his face. Benefactor. He hurried over and bowed to Sima Lu Xian. Back then you said that you would repay me for saving your life. Today let me ask you, do your words still count? A gentleman's promise is worth 1,000 gold. Then I want you to raise this child for me and ensure that she grows up. Sima Lu Xian placed Sima Yue into Sima Lai's arms. She is my daughter? Sima Lu Xian looked at Sima Yue reluctantly. Yue, her name is Sima Yue. Yue? Wasn't that the same generation as Yu Ming and the others? Don't worry, I will definitely raise her. Let her wear this properly. Remember not to let anyone know that she's a girl. Sima Lu Feng placed a ring into the swaddling clothes as he instructed. Then when will you come back to look for her? Sima Lai asked. I don't know. I'll come back when I can. That evening, the setting sun was like blood. Sima Yue listened to Sima Lai's recollection of that day and heard him describe Sima Lu Xian's reluctance to part with her more than once. Her body and soul had been fused for a long time, and the two had long become one. She could clearly feel Sima Lu Xian's reluctance to part with his child. What exactly happened? Sima Lai asked. I met the Sima family. They said that they are my uncles. Sima Yue said. Then did they do anything to you? Sima Lai suddenly became agitated. No. Sima Yue shook her head. Then how did they know about you? Sima Lai asked. Sima Yue told him about her encounter with the Sima family. Sima Lai was shocked when he heard it. If the Sima family was safe at that time, your father would not have placed you in the Yilin continent for me to raise. Sima Lai said, now that the situation over there is unclear, I'm afraid that something will happen. I think that at least those two people did not intend to hurt me. Sima Yue said, if they wanted to cut the weeds and eliminate the roots, they would not have let me come back today. But it's still dangerous. Sima Lai's eyes were filled with worry. He did not know what kind of family the Sima family was, but he was very clear about one thing. No matter what they were not people that they could afford to offend now. I want to know what their attitude is now. I also want to know why they placed me in the Yilin continent. Sima Yue said. Then do you want to meet them? Sima Lai asked. I haven't thought it through yet. Sima Yue took a deep breath. The alchemy competition is the day after tomorrow. The Alchemist Guild's matters have not been settled yet, so I don't know what the competition will be like. Let's talk about the family matters after the competition. In her heart, she also wanted to know about this body's father. She promised the original owner that she was her, so they were also her father and mother. Okay. Sima Lai nodded. Let's settle the matters in front of us first. These few days we can also see their attitude. But I think that no matter what the Sima family's attitude is, your father loves you. Sima Yue looked at Sima Lai for a long time before nodding. She took out the space ring that Sima Lu Xian left behind and stared at it in a daze. Sima Lai looked at her and sighed as he shook his head. She had not settled her own matters, and now she had to deal with the Sima family's matters. He really felt sorry for her. After a while, Sima Yue left Sima Lai's room and went to another courtyard. Third Mo was reading in the courtyard. When he saw Sima Yue coming in, he waved the book in his hand at her. I realize that you have quite a lot of books here. You can read them if you like as long as you don't tell anyone when you go out. Sima Yue walked over and sat beside him. Well said. Third Mo put down the book and said, why do you look a little weird? What are you thinking about? Sima Yue did not expect him to be so sensitive. She thought for a while and said, I'm thinking about who I am. Third Mo raised his eyebrows. This guy actually thought of this kind of question? Why do you think so? My soul still remembers the happiness and hatred in my previous life. Many times I feel that I am Sima Yue. But when I am with Grandpa and friends, I feel that I am Sima Yue, the girl who grew up in Yilin continent. Sima Yue said. And then? But I don't know who I am anymore. Sima Yue said, when I feel that I am Sima Yue, I feel that I have let Sima Yue down. When I feel that I am Sima Yue, am I not Sima Yue? You are both Sima Yue and Sima Yue. There is no conflict. Third Mo said. But when I face my family I still feel a little awkward. Sima Yue said, I feel that I have not completely become Sima Yue. For example, when I met her uncle this time I did not feel like family. Speaking of my father, I feel that if they knew that the soul in their daughter's body had changed, they would definitely be sad. Chapter 1005. Read 336. I think they would be happy if they knew, said Imo-san. Why? Sima Yue was confused. Because without you their daughter would have died. Third Imo said, you gave them hope. Sima Yue was stunned. She had never thought of this before. You haven't thought about that, have you? Third Imo chuckled. Think about it. If it weren't for you, their daughter would have already become a pile of bones. How could she still be alive and kicking in front of them and make them worry about her all the time? Sima Yue fell silent. Do you treat them as your parents? Third Imo asked. Sima Yue nodded. I promised to live on for her and find her parents. I am her and she is me. Her parents are naturally my parents. If that's what you think, then why bother with who you are? You are both you and her. Third Imo said, you are their daughter. If they don't acknowledge you in the end, then you won't have any regrets. Besides, that's a matter for you to decide after you meet them. It's useless to think so much now, isn't it? Yes. Sima Yue nodded. Now that you've mentioned it, I think I've figured it out. You're digging yourself into a dead end. Third Imo said, I've never seen you like this before. I've never encountered something like this before. Sima Yue said with a smile. After chatting with Third Imo, she felt much better. Just as he said, she treated them as her own parents. It would be best if they recognized her, but if they didn't, she wouldn't let down the original owner. Alright, why don't I see the little golden snake? Third Imo asked. It seemed to have absorbed something in the desert. It's not asleep yet, Sima Yue said. Can I go take a look? Of course. Let's go. The little golden snake was originally his and he had opened it. In the end it was still his. It only followed her because it liked her. She brought Third Imo to the place where the little golden snake was in seclusion. It was curled up with its head hidden in its body. The ancient aura in its body is getting stronger and stronger. What did it eat? Third Imo asked. After Sima Yue told him what had happened, Third Mo's expression turned serious. The aura on Xiao Jin's body is getting thicker and thicker. The chances of others discovering it will increase and you will be in more danger. Sima Yue smiled. She had a lot of treasures with her now, and she would be hunted down to the ends of the earth if she revealed any of them. You're still laughing. Third Imo said, try not to let her go out in the future. I also want to, but based on its previous behavior, I'm afraid it's unlikely. Sima Yue shrugged. This little fellow was very curious about the outside world and wanted to go out often. It was impossible for her to keep it here. Then you can't just let it be. Third Imo said. I think it's still in its infancy, but it's already so powerful. Once it grows up, I'm afraid those people won't be able to do anything to it. Sima Yue wasn't too worried. I hope so. By the way, how's the gathering of the things you wanted coming along? Other than the Bodhi mushroom, what else are you missing? Tell me if I have it here? Sima Yue said. I've already told Little Spirit. I found 2 types of herbs, but I'm still missing a few. Once I leave this place, I'll continue to search. Third Imo said. Make a list of the things you need. I'll help you find them. Sima Yue said. Okay. Third Imo didn't stand on ceremony with her. He told her the things he needed and the clues to these things. When Sima Yue came out of the spirit pagoda, the anger and depression in her heart had already dissipated. She regained her usual calmness. Han Miao Shuang and Su Xiaoxiao knocked on the door. They followed Sima Yue out of the spirit pagoda, but didn't go out with her. Little junior brother, what happened to you? They said you ran back angrily. Han Miao Shuang saw Sima Yue open the door and asked. Sima Yue thought for a while, then turned sideways to let them in. What happened? Su Xiaoxiao saw her and asked. Sima Yue made a cup of tea for each of them and said, it's a long story. Have some tea, I'll tell you slowly. Su Xiaoxiao and Han Miao Shuang were stunned when they heard Sima Yue say those things. They held the teacups in their hands and looked at her in a daze. Death, rebirth, there were such mysterious things in this world. So now that you met your uncles, they made you very angry? Han Miao Shuang concluded. I don't know why I'm angry. Maybe it's because I haven't seen them for so many years. They suddenly appeared and told me this and that. Plus, I had a pit in my heart so I couldn't control my emotions. Sima Yue said, but it's fine now. Oh my god, you're actually from the Sima family? Han Miao Shuang looked at Sima Yue and said in surprise. Why would they put you in a place like the Yilin continent? Who's your father? Su Xiaoxiao asked. They said he's called Sima Lu Xian. Ping! The teacup in Han Miao Shuang's hand fell to the ground, making a crisp sound. Su Xiaoxiao's eyes widened. What's wrong? Sima Yue was shocked when she saw their huge reaction. Your father is actually Sima Lu Xian. Han Miao Shuang finally found her voice. They said so. I haven't confirmed it yet. Sima Yue said, what's with your expressions? Sima Lu Xian. Oh my god, your father is actually Sima Lu Xian. I need to digest this news. Han Miao Shuang patted her chest exaggeratedly. You know my father? How can we not know? How many people in the inner regions don't know? Han Miao Shuang said, he's a famous person, I didn't expect him to be your father. Then you know him very well? Sima Yue asked. What we know is only superficial knowledge, but this superficial knowledge is already enough to make people prostrate themselves in admiration. Han Miao Shuang said, it's a pity that I haven't seen him with my own eyes. Now that he's actually your father, I'll definitely have a chance to see him in person. Be more specific. Sima Yue said. She and Feng Clan's Feng Zhixing are known as the two heroes of the inner regions. No matter if it's strength, appearance, or temperament, they're a few streets ahead of others. Your father is the first person I know to advance to monarch rank. He was only 100 years old then, right? Is that true? Han Miao Shuang looked at Su Xiaoxiao. 1 or 2 years. Su Xiaoxiao said, your master, Feng Zhixing, advanced to monarch rank at 100 years old. Advanced to monarch rank at 100 years old. Sima Yue was shocked by this talent. How heaven-defying was that? Unfortunately, I heard that something happened later. Your father and master disappeared from the inner regions and never appeared again. I heard that they came to the outer regions. Some people said that they died, but now it seems that your master is still alive and well. Han Miao Shuang said regretfully. Chapter 1006. If you want to talk about your father, you won't be able to finish it even if you talk for 3 days and 3 nights. Han Miao Shuang continued, I'll tell you slowly when I'm free. What's puzzling now is, where is he now? Sima Yue shook her head. They didn't say, and it seems like they don't intend to tell me either. I feel that you shouldn't have too much contact with them now. Su Xiaoxiao continued, your father entrusted you to your grandfather, which means that the Sima family is in danger. If they know that you're back, it might bring danger. I think so too. Sima Yue continued, I'll do my best for the alchemy competition now, we'll talk about other things later. It's rare for you to think this way. Han Miao Shuang continued, if it was me, I'd probably be so excited now. Sima Yue smiled, but didn't tell her that she also went to the Spirit Pagoda to chat with them for a long time before she calmed down. Alright, since you're fine, then prepare for the alchemy competition. Han Miao Shuang said. Sima Yue sent the two of them off and suddenly missed Wu Lingyu. If he was around, she would be able to calm down faster. Father. Mother. What happened that year? For the next 1.5 days, Sima Yue didn't go out again. The last time she went out, she met the Sima family. If she went out again, she didn't know what she would meet again. On the morning of the alchemy competition, Sima Yue and the people from the sect went to the huge square early. It was said that it was specially prepared for various competitions. When they entered, Sima Yifei and the others walked over. Seeing Sima Yue, he even waved at her enthusiastically. Yue, are you participating in the competition too? Or are you going to watch from the viewing platform like me? Hope you enjoy watching. Sima Yue nodded at him faintly, turned around and walked to the contestants' area. This brat is still angry. Sima Yifei touched his chin and said, you're actually thinking about this now. Sima Xenshu walked over and said, did you see her go to the contestants' area? I saw it. Sima Yifei looked at him as if he was an idiot, then his eyes suddenly widened and said, he knows how to refine pills. Not only does he know how to refine pills, his grade is definitely not low. Sima Xenshu said. What do you know? Armament refining. Sima Yifei continued, don't tell me he knows how to refine armaments? We don't know if she knows how to refine weapons, but I know that she knows a lot of things. Sima Yiyun walked over and said, it's obvious that she's a seeker spirit master. And did you notice that Feng Zhixing is her master? What does this mean? That means she's also a formation master. Sima Chi said in surprise, he's a seeker spirit master, an array master, and an alchemist. Is this guy really human? I believe she's a pervert. Sima Yifei said, alright, you guys quickly go and compete. Attract this competition and win the things back. You can't lose to the Gu family. We know. Sima Chi said, You can just watch from the stands with them. We'll definitely win against the Gu family. Sima Yuiwei and Han Miao Shuang followed Mao Sanquan to the contestants' resting area and chose a seat to sit down. Instructor Mao, do you think we'll be able to find the traitor today? Han Miao Shuang sat beside Sima Yuiwei and asked. Then we'll have to see if they'll seize power today. Mao Sanquan looked at the empty rostrum and said faintly. I think the possibility is very high. Wei Zheng continued. This alchemy competition has always been hosted by the guild president and the pill subdivision head. If President Xia and the others don't appear, they'll definitely use this as an excuse to seize power. The possibility is very high. But I don't know if we can use this to find all the traitors. Su Xiao said. I don't know. It'll depend on their abilities. Sima Yuiwei continued. To be exact, it'll depend on their subordinates' abilities. Those two guys were still carefree in her little realm. They weren't worried about what was happening here at all. Little junior brother, let me introduce you to those who are participating in the competition. Over there is Kang Junshul. Sima Yuiwei and Su Xiao looked in the direction that Han Miao Shuang was looking at. As expected, they saw Kang Junshul and the Jiang family members walking to the opposite resting area and sitting down. That's Kang Junshul? Why do I feel like that's eldest senior brother? Su Xiao asked. It's not what you think. That's eldest senior brother. Sima Yuiwei said confidently. Jiang Junxian felt 3 pairs of eyes on him. He glanced over and then turned to look elsewhere. He's not looking at us. Han Miao Shuang said angrily, I'll go up. Senior sister, don't be rash. Sima Yuiwei quickly pulled Han Miao Shuang and said, if you go over now, there's nothing you can do even if he doesn't admit it. That's right. Why are you being rash? Since he's here, it's easy for you to find him. Su Xiao said. I'm going to ask him why he did that to us. Han Miao Shuang said unwillingly. There'll be a chance. Sima Yuiwei pulled her to sit down. Now's not the time to talk about this. If he's here, then where did Kang Junshul go? Su Xiao asked. I think he caught Kang Junshul and wanted to use his identity to participate in the competition. In the end, he wanted to do something. Sima Yuiwei said. It's possible. Han Miao Shuang calmed down and looked at Jiang Junxian. Could it be that he wants to ruin the Jiang family's reputation? He wouldn't be so stupid as to use such a method, right? As she spoke, she looked at Sima Yuiwei and said in shock, could it really be like that? I think it's very likely. Su Xiao said. If he really thinks that way, then he's really wrong. Sima Yuiwei said, replacing Kang Junshul and losing in the competition, or crushing him in the competition fair and square, which one would feel better? Of course it's the second one. Han Miao Shuang said, that's why I said he's stupid. If it was me, I definitely wouldn't do that. If it was me, I would definitely choose to slap him in the face. Half an hour later, Song Changjie and the others walked in under the protection of the guards. There were a few other vice presidents and vice leaders beside them. They came to the rostrum and sat down. Sima Yuiwei noticed that Song Changjie sat directly on the main seat. A teacher came to the rostrum and said, everyone, today is the alchemy competition that happens once every 20 years. Before the competition starts, we have some things to announce. I'm guessing they're going to announce that they're going to seize power. Sima Yuiwei said. You don't have to think to know. Su Xiao said, looks like they're really going to make a move. Sima Yuiwei's lips curled into a smile as she said faintly, the exciting show is about to start. Chapter 1007. Everyone, before the pill competition begins, there are some things that need to be taken care of. The host said. If it's an alchemy competition, then so be it. What else is there? Someone called out. Of course it's something very important. Otherwise we wouldn't be doing it at this time. The host said. Just tell me what it is. The host looked in Song Changjie's direction and said, everyone knows that this pill competition has always been hosted by the guild president and the Pill Alliance master. But something happened this year. As soon as he finished speaking, he paused for a moment to observe the expressions of everyone here before he continued. All of you are aware that Ocean of Cloud City hasn't been peaceful recently. For some unknown reason, large amounts of plants outside the city have turned black, and even the spirit beasts have become violent. Our president and Lord Alliance head, they went out to investigate something outside the city and haven't returned. Right now we don't even know if they're still alive. Whoosh, the audience was in an uproar and everyone started to discuss. How could this happen? What happened to the guild leader and the others? Oh my God, something big is going to happen today. Everyone was shocked. Some of the smarter ones had already sensed that something was wrong. I've long heard that they weren't in the city. I didn't expect them to not return after going out to investigate, someone said. Then what should we do? Everyone don't panic. The host waved his hands, signaling for everyone to be quiet. President and Alliance head are both gone. Then how are we going to carry out today's pill competition? Someone asked loudly. This alchemy competition is a competition passed down from our ancestors. Naturally, we cannot cancel the competition. The host said. How is the competition going to proceed without the president and the Alliance master around? Yes. Could it be that the guild leader has returned? I don't think so. If he came back, he must have come out already. Then how will the competition proceed? Let's wait and see. I have a feeling that today's matter won't be simple. Everyone be quiet. The host said, although the president and the Alliance leader are not here, we still have to continue our work. Even if we don't have the president and Alliance master, we still have the vice president and vice Alliance master. Over the years, there has never been a vice president or vice chief presiding over the competition. Someone questioned. That's right. But we have something else to tell you, the host said. What is it? We'll have to ask our vice president and vice Alliance master to tell everyone, the host said. Everyone's gaze shifted to the rostrum. Song Changjia stood up and said to everyone, the president told me something before he left. As for what it is, you'll know once you hear it. He took out a sound stone and raised it above his head, saying, this is the sound stone that was brought back by the people who were looking for the president. It contains the words that the president and the Alliance master said to everyone. After he finished speaking, he inserted spirit energy into it, and Xia Chang Tian's voice resounded through the entire plaza. Changjia, I've found some clues here. I can't give up now. I'll leave the preparations for the alchemy competition to you all. I know that the alchemy competition is a competition passed down from our ancestors. It must be presided over by the president. If I don't return before the competition, then I'll pass the position of president to you. Boom. Everyone gasped and looked at each other, unable to believe what they had just heard. The person in Xia Chang Tian's body didn't agree either. He anxiously cried out, President, how can you don't have to persuade me. You all know that I've never wanted to be the president. I've had this thought since a long time ago. I wanted to pass the position of president to him. It's just bringing it forward. President, you can't do this. You don't have to say any more. I've already made up my mind. Changjia, remember, you must ensure that the alchemy competition continues smoothly. The voice stopped here. Following that, another voice rang out. It was Zhao Xiangqi's voice. His meaning was similar to the previous one. He also said that he wanted to pass the position to the Vice Alliance Master of the Pill Subdivision, Zhao Xiangrui. This Zhao Xiangrui is Zhao Xiangqi's biological younger brother. He actually covets his older brother's position. Sima Yue shook her head and said, there's a huge difference between the two. Han Miao Shuang said, I don't know why things like power are so attractive. The feeling of being able to call the wind and summon the rain is naturally different from the feeling of always being inferior to others. Su Xiaoxiao said, this is the most attractive part. That's right. Mao Sanquan nodded in agreement. But there will always be those who don't care about fame and fortune. Sima Yue said, at least I don't see any of you having such thoughts. All of you are thinking about how to pass the guts to others. That's why people say that different people have different pursuits. Han Miao Shuang said, some people think that it's good, some don't. Like me, I think that eating is the best. Foodie. Su Xiaoxiao looked at her with disdain. I'm proud of being a foodie. Han Miao Shuang raised her head proudly. Sima Yue laughed and shook her head. As long as you eat, everything will be fine. Alright, stop talking. Let's continue to watch the show. After Zhao Xiangqi finished speaking, the entire arena was in an uproar. They didn't think that something like this would happen. The president was a gifted person. This was such a huge matter. Quiet. Quiet. The MC shouted. But everyone still didn't stop discussing. Everyone was expressing their own thoughts and feelings. After 10 minutes, the entire arena finally calmed down. Everyone quiet. The MC shouted again. This time, everyone finally quietened down. The president and chief's intentions are very clear. Now what I have to do is to follow their wishes and let Vice President Song and Vice President Zhao take over the position of president and chief. The MC said, because this is a special period for the alchemy competition, the succession ceremony will be held after the competition. Greetings to the President-in-Chief. Greetings to the President-in-Chief. Many people stood up and bowed towards Song Changjie and Zhao Xiangrui. The other group of people didn't move. They sat in the same place with no intention of getting up. What do you want to do? The MC looked at those people and asked unhappily. Without seeing the president, we don't believe that he will give up the position of president. Someone said. That's right. Song Changjie wants to use a soundstone to seize power. That's impossible. With the president's words, you still won't admit it. Of course not. Don't tell me you want to rebel? The MC dragged his voice, his eyes revealing a cold intent. Rebel? You're the ones rebelling. Do you think that just because you took out a fake soundstone we'll admit it? Don't tell me you can't recognize the president's voice. We know that it's the president's voice, but this voice can be imitated. We definitely won't admit it. That's right. Is that so? Song Changjie looked at those people and waved his hand. A group of guards quickly ran in from outside. Chapter 1008. Those guards ran in and stood in a row around the plaza, facing the people on the viewing platform. Please search the book to see the most complete update of the fastest. Song Changjie, what do you mean by this? How dare you call the president's name? The host said. You're doubting the previous president's intentions and disrespecting the current president. If you continue to do this, we can only arrest you. Sima Yu looked at the guards, each of them looking fierce and murderous. This group of people are not ordinary guards. Mao Sanquan said. Don't act blindly without thinking. Sima Yu cursed in her heart and started to think of what to do now. Xia Chang Tian and the others were still in her little realm. According to the plan, she would let them out here. But now it seemed that she didn't dare to act blindly without thinking, let alone find a secret place. Could it be that she had to expose the fact that she had a little realm in front of so many people? She looked around and rejected the idea. There were many eyes here, there might be people who had designs on her. Snatching treasures was a common thing in this world. But what should she do in this situation? Wait and see, let nature take its course. Han Miao Shuang saw that the situation was not right and instructed softly. Sima Yu nodded and Little Seven grabbed her hand. Song Changjie, what do you mean by this? Isn't today the alchemy competition? You've already arranged guards outside. In view of what happened outside the city and the theft of the Bodhi mushroom, we decided to be careful. If someone comes to cause trouble, it's better to have more guards. The host said. You're obstructing us here, are you in cahoots with those people? In cahoots with your sister. A man jumped up and scolded. Song Changjie, if you want to be the president, unless you see the president with your own eyes and hear him say it himself, we won't acknowledge you. You want to see the president? Song Changjie narrowed his eyes and looked at him. The guard standing in front of that person took out a spirit weapon and attacked him. A strong pressure froze that person, making him unable to move. He could only watch as the spirit weapon was about to pierce his heart. Ding! A dart flew over and deflected the spirit weapon. At the same time, a force wrapped around the guard and threw him back. Who is it? The host looked in the direction where the darts came from, but he didn't see anyone there. Song Changjie, if you want to be the president, have you asked for our opinion? A loud voice came from the door. Sima Yue was excited when she heard the voice. The God Valley Lord led Ying Bai Chuan and a group of Divine Devil Valley disciples in through the main door. After they entered, they looked around and paused when they saw Sima Yue. Martial uncle. Sima Yue moved her lips and greeted him. The Valley Lord nodded and looked at Song Changjie and Zhao Xiangrui. You want to seize power? Have you asked for our permission? Liang Wu Ming, I thought you wouldn't come, the host said in a strange tone. Song Jiang, you want to stop my Divine Devil Valley with those people you sent? You must be dreaming. The God Valley Lord, Liang Wu Ming, snorted coldly. I really underestimated your Divine Devil Valley strength. I didn't expect you to have so many thunderbolt bombs. Otherwise, you wouldn't be able to come here. The truth is that we came here. Liang Wu Ming said. Since we're here, you should wake up from your dream of power. Do you think it's useful for your Divine Devil Valley to come here? Song Changjie said. You don't know. Today you can only enter this plaza but you can't leave. Are you talking about the people you arranged outside? Liang Wu Ming said. Do you think they let us in? What do you mean? Zhao Xiangrui had a good relationship with the Divine Devil Valley and knew their strength. Hearing him say this, he had a bad feeling. You've already guessed it, haven't you? Liang Wu-ming said. Your people have already been taken care of by us. How is that possible? The people we arranged outside are all experts. With your divine Devil Valley strength, how could you defeat them silently? If there was a battle, how could they not hear anything? Don't you know that my divine Devil Valley has poison masters? You actually used poison. Zhao Xiangrui shouted. Do you have no morals? Are you stupid? Liang Wu-ming looked at him mockingly. Firstly, my divine Devil Valley has never said that we are a righteous sect. Our motto has always been to follow our heart. Whether we use poison or not, as long as we are happy, we are willing. What can you do? You. Secondly, Liang Wu-ming interrupted him and said, since when do you want to usurp power? Do we still need to talk about the morals of the underworld with you? I think your IQ is worrying. Everyone laughed out loud. Some of the inner powers who had been watching coldly from the sidelines also laughed. Do you think that you can deal with us with just this group of people? If you ignore the previous president and the Alliance Master's words, we can definitely capture you. The previous president, you said that sounds stone. Do you dare to say that it was really your president who said it? Liang Wu-ming asked. Can't you tell from the president's voice? Of course I can tell from the president's voice. But what you said is not the real president. What do you mean? Someone asked. Could it be that what they heard was not what the president said? The literal meaning. Liang Wu-ming said. That sound stone was not said by the president at all. It was forged by them. Forged things can be forged. But can a voice be forged? Of course. Liang Wu-ming said. There is no one in this world who has the same voice. The host said coldly. With such concrete evidence, you still want to deny it. Divine Valley Lord, why did you say that it was forged? Some of the neutral powers asked. Do you have evidence? If that voice was the president's, then they would naturally follow his wishes and treat Song Changjia as the president. If it wasn't, then they would definitely not admit it. The evidence will be here soon. Liang Wu-ming said. Wait for 2 minutes. You will naturally know. So Peng. A figure fell from the sky and landed harshly in front of everyone. Everyone seemed to have heard the sound of bones breaking. The evidence that you want is here. Red stood in the sky. She was the one who had thrown that person out. Red. When Zhao Xiangrui saw Red, he subconsciously took a step back. Lord Red. Lord Red has always been with the president. If she is here, then wouldn't the president be here too? Just as everyone was discussing, another person was thrown to the ground. This book came from pin and book #net /. Chapter 1009. When they saw the two people on the ground, everyone was puzzled. Song Changjie, Zhao Xiangrui, and the others' expressions changed instantly. Gao Jihong flew in from the other side of the square with a few guards beside him. At the same time, a few other guards flew in from outside and arrived behind Red Robe, saying, Sect Master, those people outside have been dealt with. Hong Yi nodded, then flew down and stood beside the person on the ground. She casually kicked him, looked at Zhao Xiangrui and sneered, Zhao Xiangrui, you've grown bold. Now they even dare to do such a thing. Zhao Xiangrui appeared to be very afraid of the Red Spectre. When he saw her questioning him with a cold face, his body shivered involuntarily. You guys really managed to escape, Song Jiang said. Not only did we escape, we even brought your people back to you. Red Coat said. Who are these two people? Someone couldn't hold back and asked. Who else could it be? Aren't they the Guild Master and Alliance Master that you've heard about? Gao Jihong flew to Red Coat's side and kicked the man, causing him to face up. Song Changjie, do you still recognize your people? Song Changjie remained silent with a cold face. Come, let's learn from what you said before. Gao Jihong said. The person on the ground did not speak. What, do you want to have a taste of my 18 tortures? The Red Spectre glanced at the man. That person's body trembled and his eyes flashed with struggle. He then opened his mouth and said, Changjie, I found some clues. About the alchemy competition. That person imitated Xia Chang Tian's voice and repeated what he said before. Sima Yue whispered, Is this Red Coat very powerful? Those people seem to be afraid of her? Hong Yi has quite a reputation in the central region. She is the leader of the Red Flower sect. Because she likes the alliance leader, she often follows him. Han Miao Shuang said. How did you know? Sima Yue turned to look at her. Haha, don't you know that we have a very gossipy master? Han Miao Shuang said, every time he comes here he will tell us anything interesting. Although most of the time we don't want to hear it. Then why are those people so afraid of her? Sima Yue asked. Safflower sect is a cult in the eyes of others. The current sect leader, Hong Yi, is even more vicious and merciless. She created 18 tortures that made many people tremble in fear. Many people in the pill subdivision are afraid of her. Han Miao Shuang said. I really want to see it. Little Seven blinked her big eyes and said with a smile. Once you see it, you won't want to see it again, Su Xiao said. Have you seen it before? Seven asked. No, but I've heard about it from Master. Su Xiaoxiao recalled Su Jin's description and felt a little nauseous. The 18 tortures of the Red Spectre? Sima Yue raised her eyebrows. She wanted to see for herself. After that person finished speaking, everyone in the venue was stunned. Song Changjie Zhao Xiangrui, you actually dare to do this? Do you really think we're fools? Someone cursed. Isn't that so? Little Seven muttered. If Hong Yi and the others hadn't exposed the sound stone, these people would have believed it. If they weren't idiots, then what were they? If the president and alliance head are fake, then where are they? Zhan Xing stood up and asked. Ever since the president and alliance head went out to investigate the situation outside the city, they haven't returned. Now that so much time has passed, we don't even know if they're dead or alive. To put it bluntly, if they're really dead, then the position of president and alliance head would belong to the vice president and vice alliance head. Why would they do such a thing? That's because you can't kill us. Gao Jihong said, for such a long time, you've been sending people to kill us, wanting the president and alliance head to die outside forever. Since you can't kill us, you can only do such things to usurp power. Gao Jihong, don't slander us. You're clearly the one who betrayed the Union, betrayed the president and the others, and now you're actually trying to frame us. Zhan Xing said, the president went out with you and as the leader of his guards you came back alive. What does this mean? I think you should properly explain how you killed the president and the others, right? Senseless framing. Gao Jihong said. At this moment, two people ran in from outside, came to Song Changjie's side, and whispered something in his ear. You're here? Song Changjie's face immediately became happy and said, go, call the people from the cloud protection team over. Yes, President. That person accepted the order and left. Gao Jihong, seeing that we've known each other for a few hundred years, I advise you to obediently surrender. Song Changjie said, just based on the few of you, there's no way you can fight against us. Seeing that we've known each other for so long, I'll give you a piece of advice. Don't be stubborn and let yourself be captured. Gao Jihong imitated his tone and said, your people have already been killed by us, just based on the people you have here, you're not our match. Gao Jihong, don't be so shameless. Zhan Xing pointed at Gao Jihong's nose and scolded. You guys talk a lot of nonsense. Red picked his ears and said impatiently, you guys are blabbering like this, I can directly put people down. Gao Jihong saw Red flipping out and said, it's not like I wanted to. Red rolled her eyes at him, then said to Zhao Xiangrui and Song Changjie, you two, are you going to surrender or not? If you don't surrender, I'm going to make a move. After speaking, she didn't wait for them to reply and immediately made a move. Those guards immediately started fighting, all kinds of spirit skills flew in all directions, and the entire square became chaotic. Sima Yue was delighted. In such a chaotic situation, no one would notice her movements. Then no one would find out when she secretly took out the door to the little realm. Cover me for a while, she said to Han Miao Shuang and the others. Han Miao Shuang, Su Xiaoxiao and Little Seven blocked her surroundings. She looked around and found that no one was paying attention to her, so she took out the little door and called out Xia Chang Tian and Zhao Xiangqi who were still chatting inside. Stop. Xia Chang Tian's deep voice resounded throughout the square, causing everyone who was fighting to quieten down. President? President? Seeing the two of them appear out of nowhere, everyone was shocked. Oh, you still know that I'm your president? Didn't you guys recognize a new president? Xia Chang Tian glanced at those people, that kind of imposing aura emitted without being angry, causing many people to lower their heads. He was currently filled with a stomach full of unhappiness, and now he didn't like who he looked at. According to his original plan, he would come out before entering the square, that way he would be able to make a grand entrance. But he didn't expect that the two of them would be arguing endlessly because of alchemy and forget about this. So he could only come out like this. Chapter 10:10. Read 336. The moment Xia Changtian and Zhao Xiangqi appeared, the entire situation changed. Those neutral powers immediately sided with them. Only Song Changjie and Zhao Xiangrui's trusted aides were still stubbornly resisting. How did you guys get in? Zhao Xiangrui looked at them in surprise. There was a barrier here, it was impossible for Xia Changtian to force his way in. Even if they managed to enter with so many people in the city, it was impossible for there to be no news of them. It wasn't just Xia Changtian and Zhao Xiangqi. Gao Zhihong and the other guards also seemed to have suddenly appeared in the city. These days they had been opposing them everywhere. Even though they had sent out many people, they still couldn't catch them. However, no matter how Gao Zhihong and Hong Yi jumped around, they didn't put it to heart. But with Xia Changtian and Zhao Xiangqi coming out, the meaning was completely different. Humph, you don't have to worry about how we came in. Xia Changtian said, now I'll only ask you one thing. Surrender or not? Surrender? Ha! Song Changjie laughed out loud as if he had heard the funniest thing in the world. All these years, you've thrown everything aside and studied alchemy, leaving all the matters of the union to me. I've worked so hard for so many years, but I'm still suppressed by you. I've had enough of these days. So you betrayed me and poisoned me outside the city with the people from the inner regions to lure me out. Xia Changtian felt a bit of pain in his heart. He had always nurtured Song Changjie to be the next president, but he didn't expect him to have such an attitude. When the surrounding people heard this, they all gasped. The incident outside the city was actually caused by Song Changjie and Zhao Xiangrui? So those people who died because of the investigation were all killed by them? Lord Envoy did not return. I knew that you already knew. Song Changjie did not deny it and said, but even if you know the reason, what's the use? The ending was the same. You are destined to serve His Majesty. My lord? Zhao Xiangqi frowned. It seems that you have completely surrendered to that power and have even thrown away your dignity. Dignity? After following you for so many years, my dignity has long been worn away by your orders. But it's different if you follow Her Highness. She can make you suffer a crushing defeat with just a little trick. Although I don't know why you survived, the result will be the same. Results? We're back. Your plans have failed. Zhao Xiangqi said, the members of the Cloud Protection Team listen to me and Changtian. Can you still order them around? Haha, do you think the current Cloud Protection Team is still the same as before? Song Changjie laughed heartily. You can give them an order and see if they will listen to you. Xia Changtian looked at the guards who were pointing their weapons at them. What did you do to them? Xia Changtian asked. I didn't actually do anything. Song Changjie said, although those people directly take orders from the president after so many years, they have long leaned towards me. Haven't you noticed that the Cloud Protection Team has lost a lot of familiar faces and has gained a lot of new ones? That's right, you were busy refining pills, so you naturally didn't notice. The Cloud Protection Squad was a squad that belonged to the Guild Master and the Alliance Master. However, it had now become Song Changjie's men. You guys actually betrayed us. Gao Zhihong angrily looked at his former brothers, his gaze gradually turning cold. Captain, don't blame us. We're just good birds that choose a tree to nest in. Someone said. Your self-awareness is not bad. You know that you're a beast. Hong Yi said. Hong Yi, your safflower sex people have all been taken care of by us. I wonder if you found their bones? I will definitely make you pay with your blood. Hong Yi said. With just you guys? Come kill them all. Zhan Xing had never liked Hong Yi. Whenever he saw her, he would subconsciously think of her torture. Now that he finally had the chance to take care of her, he naturally wouldn't let it go. Protect the President and Alliance Master. The moment the guards moved, people flew down from the stands. They could ignore others, but they had to protect the President and Alliance Master. The moment they moved, those who followed them and those who were against them also moved. Sima Yue then realized that the rest was divided into 4 groups. One group was from the inner regions. They wouldn't care about this matter. One group was Song Changjie's men, one was neutral, and one was following Xia Changtian. Once they moved, other than the people from the inner regions, everyone else moved. The entire scene became even more chaotic. You guys stay here. You're not allowed to go out. Mao Sanquan activated the defensive array and instructed the students. He then brought Wei Zheng and the rest out. Little 7, protect everyone. Sima Yue saw that the Divine Devil Valley's people were outside. Many of them were attacked. She followed Mao San Quan and flew out. They fought as they went to the Divine Devil Valley. Senior uncle, senior brother. Sima Yue came to their side and happened to save a disciple who was surrounded. Why did you come out? Ing Bai Chuan saw Sima Yue coming over and said, quickly return to the defensive array. Their attacks are too fierce. Let's go back together. Sima Yue shouted at him. Bai Chuan, bring them to the defensive array. Liang Wu Ming shouted. Yes, master. Ing Bai Chuan replied, follow us. He and Sima Yue brought them to where the academy was. Little Seven opened the array to let them in. Thank you, Junior Valley Master. Sima Yue was a little surprised and asked, how did you know it was me? Other than you, no one can call the Valley Lord Senior Uncle. That person laughed. That's true. Sima Yue turned to look at the situation outside and said, the situation doesn't look good. The Cloud Protection Squad betrayed us. This is unexpected. I don't know if they have any trump cards. Otherwise, I'm afraid this battle. Su Xiao said worriedly. I think so too. I think Captain Gao and the rest have more skills than this. Han Miao Shuang believed in them. They won't even listen to the president. I'm afraid it's impossible to make them stop. Little Seven said. I think so too. Ing Bai Chuan said, but you don't have to worry too much. Those people will come after settling the people outside. Those people. The previous Cloud Protection Squad, Safflower Sect's disciples and other backup. Ing Bai Chuan said. Where are they now? They're cleaning up Song Changjie's backup. If they don't come soon, I'm afraid the situation will be out of control. Ing Bai Chuan saw the one-sided situation and was a little worried. But those backup obviously didn't show any signs of coming early. Time passed bit by bit. Every minute and every second seemed so unbearable. Chirp chirp, just when everyone thought the situation was settled, a phoenix cry came from the sky, making Sima Yue happy. Chapter 10-11. Chirp chirp, everyone looked up and saw phoenixes flying over. For the latest chapter, please go to Literature Building. Phoenix Clan? It's the Swanee clan, which is ranked relatively high among the phoenixes. How did they get here? Someone must have let them in. That barrier is indestructible. It's really bye-bye. Chirp chirp, the phoenix flew to the sky above the square and circled the air a few times. The battle below stopped. Brother. Rainbow flew down from the sky and landed beside Sima Yue. Then Lu Fei flew down with his men and landed around them. When Sima Yue saw Rainbow and the rest, she was very surprised and asked, why are you guys here? We happened to be nearby and received news that something was going on here. Originally we didn't want to come, but we got the news that you were here, so we rushed over. Rainbow said. Then how did you get in? How did you get in? He flew in. Rainbow said. I saw you flying in. Is there a need to ask? You don't have an invitation and it's impossible for you to break the barrier. How did you get in? Sima Yue asked. Barrier? When we came in there was no enchantment. Rainbow said, when we came in there was no one guarding the city gate, nor was there any enchantment blocking us. The guards guarding the city are all Song Changjie's men. They should have already been dealt with. Ing Bai Chuan said. Young master, do you want us to take action? Lu Fei asked. Let's wait and see. Sima Yue said. Tao clan, it's best if you don't get involved in human affairs. Song Changjie said to Lu Fei in a threatening tone. I'm not interested in the affairs of you humans, but since you've offended the young master, we have no choice but to intervene. Lu Fei said. Young master? Song Changjie narrowed his eyes at Sima Yue. This human? I see that you've always been thinking about how to usurp power. You don't even know that the king of the rocks has appeared. Xia Chang Tian said, the golden-winged great Peng has recognized a human as his master. All the other birds have to listen to his orders. This is the human? Song Changjie looked at Sima Yue. Other than her good looks, there was nothing special about her. He did not expect her to be the contractor of the king of birds. Rainbow, how many people do you have? Sima Yue asked when she saw that the reinforcements had not arrived yet. There's a total of over 100 of them, and the weakest is a high-level sacred beast. Most of them came in, but a small half of them were stopped by the guards outside. Rainbow said, but those people are no match for us. They should be able to rush over in a moment. That's good. If we have to fight later, you can directly kill those people. Sima Yue said. There was no need to give those treacherous people a chance to start over. All right. Lu Fei nodded. With the addition of Tao Wu, the situation changed again. From Song Changjia's side at the beginning to Red and the others joining the battle, to the betrayal of the Cloud Protection team and finally Tao Wu's appearance, and the situation changed again. This show is getting better and better. Gu Shichao sat in his seat watching the show with great interest. He was not interested in the matters of the outside forces. He came here to participate in the competition, but it would be good if he could watch a good show before the competition. Next to the Gu family was the Sima family. Sima Yiyun and the others were shocked. She's actually the contractor of the King of Rocks. Sima Chi cried out softly, her face full of disbelief. Sima Xan Shu and the others had similar expressions, as if they were looking at a monster. No matter what the reason was that forced her to leave, she definitely has the right to return to the family now. Sima Yiyun said excitedly. With her talent, even if she returns to the family, she will be heavily nurtured. Sima Chi said. At least heavily nurtured. If she goes back, I think the family head will not even look at us. Sima Xan Shu smiled bitterly. He always felt that he was not bad, but compared to her, the difference was too big. Uncle Lu Xian really gave birth to a good daughter, a good son. Sima Yiyun sighed. If he knew that his child was so outstanding, I wonder how excited he would be. It's a pity that his whereabouts are unknown. Sima Chi sighed. Uncle Lu Feng and Uncle Lu Yun have been looking for him for so many years. They even used the shadow team, but they couldn't find him. I'm afraid the result won't be good. Sima Xan Shu said, if he can't even take a look at such an outstanding child, how regretful would he be? I wonder if a miracle will happen. It will. Although his life jade is full of cracks, it hasn't really broken. I think he should still be alive. Sima Yiyun said, even if it's for such an outstanding child, he has to live well. I also believe that Uncle Lu Xian is still alive. He is such a legendary figure, how could he fall so easily? Sima Chi said. I feel the same. Sima Xian Shu said. I have a feeling that if she returns to the family, Uncle Lu Xian will return too. Sima Yiyun said. I can't wait to see how Uncle Lu Feng and the others look when they find out about this news. Sima Chi said. They'll definitely be surprised. Sima Yiyun said, the disciples in the family have been scolded badly by them. Now that Yue has appeared, I really can't wait to see how they look like. Let's see if they can get through this first. The leading elder of the Sima family said. 10th elder, do you think there will be more changes? Sima Chi asked. Look, Song Changjie and Zhao Xiangrui aren't worried. It's obvious that they still have a trump card. 10th elder Sima Wenwen said. Indeed. Sima Yiyun observed those people. Although Swan and I had joined in, they only frowned. They didn't show any despair or unwillingness. This meant that they didn't think that they would lose. Then will Yue win? Sima Chi was a little worried. 10th elder, should we help them? The forces in the inner regions can't casually interfere with the matters in the inner and outer regions. This is a convention. Although this convention exists in name only, no one has openly torn it apart. If we act rashly, I'm afraid it will give them an excuse to deal with us. Sima Wenwen said. Then we don't care? Then what about Yue? Under such circumstances, they won't dare to touch her. Unless they are prepared to become enemies with the entire bird clan. Sima Xan Shu said, it wasn't easy for them to have a golden-winged rock. If anything happens, I'm afraid the entire continent will be in turmoil. That's right. Sima Wenwen said, let's wait and see. There are more exciting things to come. Provide handwritten versions of the latest chapters. Free download in TXT ebook format. Chapter 10-12. Read 336. The two sides were locked in a stalemate, and the situation could erupt at any moment. Go! Gao Jihong roared and attacked Song Jiang, who was not far away. The two sides started fighting again. This time with the addition of Bai, and more than half of the Cloud Protection team was quickly wiped out. Song Changjie saw that the situation was not right and took out something to crush. Very quickly, Sima Yu sensed some movement in space and opened up a spatial tunnel. A group of masked people walked out from it. Judging from the aura they were emitting, everyone had a common understanding that these people were from the inner region. The faces of the people in the inner circle who had been watching the show sank when they saw these people appear. Are the forces from the inner regions meddling in the affairs here? Lord Left Emissary, save us. Song Changjie shouted at that person. The so-called lord of the left emissary glanced at Song Changjia and Zhao Xiangrui with a malicious gaze, causing a chill to run down their spines. If you can't even do something like this, how are you going to serve the Lord? With a wave of his hand, Song Changjia and Zhao Xiangrui were sent flying by a gust of wind and landed heavily on the ground. This subordinate has failed in his task. Please punish me, Lord Left Emissary. Zhao Xiangrui hurriedly admitted his mistake. A hint of ruthlessness flashed through Song Changjia's eyes, but it disappeared in an instant. He stood up, lowered his head and said, "This subordinate has failed in his task. Please punish me, Lord Left Emissary." Useless trash. The left emissary turned his gaze towards Xiachang Tian and the others, and ordered the people behind him, "Kill them on the spot." Yes, Left Emissary. Those men in black were all monarch rank experts. Although there were many monarch rank experts on this side, the other side was much stronger. The situation had changed once again. Sima Yuyu's heart sank when she saw the situation. Why was it so troublesome to deal with these people? She looked at the entire venue. The people in the inner circle didn't make a move because this was an outside matter. They didn't dare to casually participate. But now that the inner circle was involved, would they make a move? She looked at the Sima family and felt that her previous idea was unlikely. How could they possibly get involved? But if this continued, it wouldn't be long before Xiachang Tian and the others would be defeated. PFFF. Mao Sanquan was hit. He spat out a mouthful of blood and retreated. Director Mao. Sima Yue and Little Seven flew out. Sima Yue helped him up while Little Seven stood guard in front of them. The three of them retreated back into the defense array. Instructor Mao, eat this pill. Sima Yue took out a pill and fed it to him. After Mao Sanquan ate the pill, he felt much better. This can't go on, they can't hold on any longer. Han Miao Shuang said. I didn't think that the people from the inner regions would come. Even if we wait for those reinforcements to arrive, we might not be able to win. Ying Baichuan said. Then what should we do? No one said anything. No one knew what else they could do. Just as Ying Baichuan had said, the reinforcements soon arrived, but they were still no match for the forces in the inner area. The left emissary stood in the air and looked at Xiachang Tian, who was protected in the middle by the crowd. He condensed spiritual energy in his hands and attacked. The guards around him were sent flying by the spiritual energy and Xiachang Tian was engulfed in flames. Gao Zhihong saw that Xiachang Tian was engulfed in flames and suddenly went crazy. He slashed his opponent in half and ran over to disperse the flames. Chang Tian. His bloodshot eyes were stunned when he saw that Xiachang Tian was unharmed. Xiachang Tian didn't react in time. It was as if he had just walked through the gates of hell. Everyone was stunned by this strange scene. However, they immediately reacted. He was saved by someone. Break. Sima Yoyue's voice woke everyone up. Xiachang Tian felt the imprisonment around him disappear. At the last moment, Sima Yue used a spatial lock to seal the space around Xiachang Tian. Naturally, the flames couldn't burn him. Gao Zhihong looked at her gratefully and stood guard beside Xiachang Tian. The left emissary looked at Sima Yue. He didn't expect her to use a spatial lock to save Xiachang Tian's life. His eyes flashed with ruthlessness as he charged towards her. You want to hurt my Yu? Little Seven went over and started fighting with the left emissary. Little Seven is so powerful. The people from the academy exclaimed when they saw that Little Seven wasn't at a disadvantage at all. They knew that Little Seven was powerful and could take down all the guards from the Alchemist Guild. But they didn't expect her to be so powerful. Many black-robed men saw that the left emissary was being held back by Little Seven and attacked Sima Yue. They were all monarch-ranked experts. Sima Yue couldn't fight them head-on. Pooh. Those who attacked Sima Yue all exploded and died. This scene was even stranger than the one just now. Who is it? Song Changjia looked around and didn't see such a powerful person. Since when can people from the inner regions interfere with the matters of the outer regions? A figure silently appeared in the air and glanced at everyone. They immediately felt suffocated. Sima Yue recognized that person. It was the steward of the Xianqiu clan. Xianqiu Lai saw that she was looking at him and said, Young master was afraid that today's matter would hurt you. That's why he asked me to come and take a look. Sima Yue nodded at him. Thank you. Who are you? The left emissary and Little Seven separated. He looked at Xianqiu Lai and felt a sense of fear. This person was definitely more powerful than a monarch-ranked expert. The matters of the Alchemist Guild are not something you can interfere with. Put away your little abacus. Scram. Shen Qiulai shouted and those black-robed men all spat out blood. It was just a light shout and it was already like this. How terrifying was his power. Everyone looked at him. He was just a skinny old man but he made them feel like ants looking up at a tall mountain. What? You don't want to leave? Shen Qiulai squinted his eyes and his killing intent intensified. Let's go. The left emissary thought about it. Since they were no match for him, they would only die if they stayed here. It was better to stay alive and accept the punishment. At least they had a chance to live. He opened a space tunnel and left with his men. Lord Left Emissary, don't leave us behind. Zhao Xiangrui saw that they were really leaving and shouted. But the other party did not intend to bother. After the black-robed men went in, the space tunnel closed. Shen Qiulai cupped his hands towards Sima Yue and said, Young Master said that if young Master Yue is free, you should visit the courtyard. Yue will definitely visit another day. Sima Yue returned the greeting. The other party had saved his life and he owed him a favor. No matter what, he had to personally thank the other party. Shen Qiulai saw the gratitude in Sima Yue's eyes and smiled in satisfaction. His figure flashed and disappeared. Sima Yue saw that Xiachang Tian and the rest were still in a daze and said, President, Alliance Head, shouldn't we settle the matters here? Chapter 10-13. Read 336. When Xiachang Tian and the others left the city, the people from the Xianxiu clan didn't come, so they didn't see them. Now, seeing such a person suddenly appear, he and Zhao Xiangqi were not mentally prepared at all. Only when Shen Qiulai left and Sima Yue reminded them did they regain their senses. Yue, who is that? Xiachang Tian asked. People from the Xianxiu clan. President, you don't know? Sima Yue was surprised. The Xianxiu clan has come to the city? Xiachang Tian spoke with surprise. I never expected that a hidden clan would come here as well. Since that force from the inner region dares to appear here in public, I think they no longer intend to hide their identity. Zhao Xiangqi said, if it wasn't for this expert, it would have been difficult for us to take down these people today. Let's not talk about that for now. Let's deal with the matters here first. Gao Jihong said. And let's settle things first. Xiachang Tian replied. He wasn't good at dealing with these things but someone would do it for him. Soon Song Changjie, Zhao Xiangrui and the others were all captured. The corpses were also disposed of as a warning to those who were disloyal but had yet to express their disloyalty. Since things had turned out like this today, the competition could not continue. Therefore, after a final discussion, the alchemy competition was postponed for 10 days. The remaining people returned to their own residences to wait. Zhao Xiangqi and Hong Yi brought the people back to the Dan Alliance. As people who had contributed greatly, the people from the academy followed Xiachang Tian and the others to the Alchemist Guild. This was her second time here. Unlike the last time she was captured, this time she was treated very well. The news of her saving Xiachang Tian at the plaza had already spread throughout the entire Cloud Sea City. Being able to use spatial seal at such a young age, being an alchemist who was going to participate in the competition, and even having a Rock King as her contracted beast, many powers were tempted by her and fantasized about her joining them. Along the way, she felt as if she was Tang Seng's meat that was coveted by others. Many people would come up to her and greet her politely and introduce themselves. She didn't like this feeling, so she dragged Little Seven and Han Miao Shuang to the medicine garden to relax. She called out Little Roar to fuse with him, but before he could open the enchantment disappeared. There is someone here. Seven said. Sima Yue looked inside and saw Shen Qiulai sitting in the herb garden looking at them. Why are you here? Seven asked. I'm smelling the medicinal herbs. This is something I have to do every day. Shen Qiulai smiled and said. Is that so? Little Seven sniffed. The herbs here are all very ordinary. They're not as good as yours. A world in a flower, a Bodhi in a leaf. Although these medicinal herbs are not that expensive, they have their own uses and tastes. Shen Qiulai continued, not all medicinal herbs are the same. Shen Qiulai's faint aura calmed Sima Yue's restless heart. Thank you for today, she said as she walked up to him. I've said it before, we're friends. Since I know that you're involved in this matter, it's only right for me to send someone over to take a look. Shen Qiulai said, there's no need for thanks between us. Sima Yue was a little embarrassed. Why did this guy make it sound like they had a good relationship? As expected, Han Miao Shuang and the rest misunderstood. Little junior brother, are you very familiar with this young master? Han Miao Shuang asked. Let me introduce you guys. This is Xianqiu clan's young master. This is my senior sister Han Miao Shuang. This is my senior brother Su Xiao Xiao. This is Rainbow. Young Master Xianqiu? The person who saved you today was talking about young master? Han Miao Shuang said. Yes. Sima Yue said, we're friends? You guys know that we know each other. Didn't I tell you guys the last time I came back? He's the one who brought us out. You said he's a friend. So it's him. Han Miao Shuang said. You guys haven't known each other for long? Some people, even if you know each other for 1,000 years, you can't become friends. And some people you just need a glance to recognize them. Xianqiu, he said. Sima Yue nodded in agreement. She believed in this too. Affinity was important, but it wasn't absolute. That's true. Han Miao Shuang said. Some people just can't become friends. Since you guys are friends, you guys can chat. We'll go to other places first. Since you guys are Yue's senior brother and senior sister, let's go together. After such a thing happened, this place is probably the only quiet place. Xianqiu, he said. He waved his hand and the enchantment that was removed was rearranged. Since that's the case, let's just stay here. Sima Yue said. Those people outside are really a headache. I didn't expect Yue to be so outstanding. People from the sect will come out and join other forces in the future. They're more interested in you. Naturally, they want to build a relationship with you. Xianqiu, he said. He already knew about Sima Yue. At that time he was very surprised too. It took him a while to digest the news. A person from the lower continents could actually reach this stage in such a short time. He didn't know if it was because her talent was too demonic or because the others were too weak. Sima Yue saw how calm he was and suddenly said, Did you guys inform Rainbow and the others? Xianqiu, he smiled. If the people from the inner regions didn't make a move, it wouldn't be good for us to make a move. Coincidentally, we knew that they were nearby. So we got someone to inform them. That meant that he already knew that she had the King of the Rocks. Thinking about it, even if he didn't investigate, his clansmen would have sent people to investigate her. For people with their abilities, it wasn't difficult to find out about her past. So you were the one who informed us. Rainbow said happily. Thank you. You're welcome. Xianqiu, he said. However, the forces from the inner regions will definitely take their anger out on you. You have to be careful in the future. I will. Sima Yue nodded. Weren't you sniffing the medicine here? How did you know about it? Little Seven asked. I don't have clairvoyance, but I have clairvoyance. Xianqiu, he smiled. It must be your guards who told you. Little Seven said. Xianqiu, he didn't deny or admit it. He didn't plan to tell her that he sensed it. Take this. Xianqiu, he took out a jade pendant and handed it to Sima Yue. What is this? When you reach the inner regions, if you meet with any danger, you can show this to them. It might be useful. Xianqiu, he said. This was an orchid-shaped jade pendant. The flower on it was as clear and elegant as its owner. It was intoxicating. If only he could see it. Chapter 10:14. Kong Di's gaze and faint smile made her swallow the words of rejection that were stuck in her throat. Thank you. Sima Yue took the jade pendant and made up her mind to find a way to let him see the world with his own eyes. She understood that people like him were very lonely. Because of his identity and body, he rarely had friends. Whenever he met someone he liked, he would want to treat that person well. If it's someone who knows about Xianqiu clan, they'll definitely buy it if you give it to them. If they don't know, it's just an ordinary jade pendant. Xianqiu, he said, so it's not 100% useful. Regardless of whether it was useful or not, this was his intention. She would remember this friendship. At the same time, at the place where the Sima family was staying, Sima Xanshu and the others were excitedly telling Sima Lu Yun and Sima Lu Feng about what happened today. There was a thick stack of papers on the tea table in the main seat. It was the first-hand information sent by the shadow team. Uncle Lu Feng, you didn't see it? When the Tao clan flew over and landed beside her, their formation wasn't any worse than when our people came out. Sima Yifei said, also if it wasn't for Yu today that guild's president would have died. That space seal was extremely beautiful. I don't think anyone in our generation is able to seal off such a large area. Moreover, it can withstand such a powerful attack. You can see how solid that space is. Sima Lu Yun and Sima Lu Feng only nodded, they weren't too agitated. Uncle Lu Feng, aren't you surprised? Sima Yifei called out when he saw their calm reactions. Surprised? Sima Lufeng said. Then why are you so calm? Sima Lufeng picked up the paper on the table. We already know everything that you've said. Didn't you guys not go to the competition? Sima Qiqi said. Sima Lufeng didn't say anything and passed the paper to them. Sima Yiyun and the rest took it over to take a look. It had clearly investigated Sima Yoyue's recent affairs. Even the incident in the dark forest was her doing. This level of strength was truly admirable. Oh my God! The four of them gathered together to read, and they cried out in surprise again and again as they read. This is too perverted. Sima Yifei cried out after he finished reading. Is this really a person? Sima Qiqi said in disbelief. Could there be a mistake in the dark forest? The person mentioned here doesn't look like Yue. I didn't think of it at that time, but according to what happened later on, I can confirm that it's her. Sima Lufeng said. Oh my God, this is too scary. She's only in her 30s, but she's experienced more than someone who's lived for 300 years. Sima Qiqi said. Compared to him, we are simply too weak. Sima Xianshu said. That's right, but she is Uncle Lu Xian's daughter. Like father, like son. Sima Yiyun said. There are still some things that haven't been reported yet, but these are enough to shock people. If Lu Xian knew that his daughter was so powerful, he would definitely be very happy. Sima Lufeng said. Uncle Lufeng, you still haven't found Uncle Lu Xian's whereabouts? Sima Yiyun asked. No, but I already have a general direction. Sima Lufeng said. Do you know where he went? I know where he was last seen. But I don't know where he went. But with a general direction, it'll be easier to investigate. Sima Lufeng said. Didn't the clan forbid you from investigating? Humph, those people. Sima Luyun snorted, full of disdain and dissatisfaction. You juniors shouldn't ask about Lu Xian's matters. Sima Lufeng said, remember Yoyue's news can't be leaked out. Don't let the clan know. I don't think so. Sima Xianshu said, we're not the only power in the inner regions. Gu clan and those other clans have sent people over. Although we didn't say it, Yoyue's name is too easy to recognize. Once they hear it, they'll know that she's from our clan. There are very few people in the Yue generation, and there aren't many who stand out. But Gu clan is close to us, so they should know. Sima Yiyun said. Who's the leader from Gu clan? Sima Lufeng asked. Gu Shichao and their 15th elder. Sima Xianshu said. They will talk to them and ask them to keep it a secret. Sima Lufeng said. No need. Sima Luyun said. What? If we look for them specially, they'll be interested in Yue instead. If we don't say anything, they might not say anything. Sima Luyun said, if they really find out, we'll explain it to them. That works too. Then the few of you shouldn't look for her casually. Keep a distance from her and don't let them find out anything unusual. Got it? Sima Lufeng said. Got it. Sai, I really want to pry open Yue's brain and see the structure inside. How did Uncle Lu Xian give birth to such an evildoer? Sima Yifei sighed. When we're stronger, we'll be able to bring her home. Sima Yiyun said. We will. Sima Xianshu said, I think with her talent and ability, it won't be long before she can go back. She will. They all believed that day wouldn't be too far away. Sima Yue and the others stayed in the medicine garden until Mao Sanquan contacted them to go back. They then left and went to the front to look for them. Yue, thank you for today. Xia Chang Tian looked at Sima Yue and cupped his hands in gratitude. If it wasn't for her, he reckoned that he would be done for today. President, you're too polite. Sima Yue stood to one side and avoided his bow, saying, this is what I should do. You bowing to me is too much. Not to mention his identity as the president, his age was enough for him to be an old man. She couldn't accept his bow to a young brat. President, the matter is almost settled. We'll head back first. Mao Sanquan said. Go on. You're tired today. Go back and have a good rest. Prepare for the competition later. Xia Chang Tian said and then winked at Sima Yue. You have to work hard. I'm looking forward to your results. Sima Yue saw him winking at her and goosebumps rose on her body. Why did she feel that this guy had an ulterior motive for smiling? What a scary smile. Gao Zhihong, who was at the side, knew what this guy was thinking. He probably wanted to get her into the guild. If her results in alchemy were good, it would be perfectly justifiable to get her in. Sima Yue saw Xia Chang Tian like that and left the alchemist guild as if she was escaping. They went back to rest for 10 days. In these 10 days, Sima Yue brought Han Miao Shuang and the others to the Spirit Pagoda to go into seclusion. Although she hadn't advanced to 8th grade, she felt that she was infinitely close. Chapter 10-15. Read 336. While Sima Yue was in closed-door cultivation, news about her spread throughout Ocean of Cloud City. No matter if it was the fact that she'd utilized a spatial lockdown to save Xiachang Tian or the fact that she possessed a contracted beast of the King of Rocks, every single one of these things was spread like a legend. Sima Yue originally wanted to go out for a walk when she was free. However, after going out once and being stared at like a panda, she didn't plan to go out again and obediently stayed in the Spirit Pagoda to refine pills. After staying in the Spirit Pagoda for a few months, the day of the alchemy competition finally arrived. Sima Yue brought Han Miao Shuang and the others out a day earlier to rest and buffer. You guys came out. Little Seven and Mao San Quan came in from outside and just happened to see her coming down the stairs. They bounced over. Where did you go? Sima Yue hugged her and asked. Old Mao and I went out for a walk. Little Seven said. Are you the one who pestered Director Mao to go out with you? Sima Yue laughed when she saw Mao San Quan's helpless expression. Hee hee. Little Seven smiled. I was bored and you guys were in closed-door cultivation, so I could only drag him along to accompany me. Sima Yue poked her forehead. Director Mao is so busy but he still wants to play with you. Although Little Seven felt that she needed to protect those students, she wasn't very close to them. Even Han Miao Shuang and the others were close because of Sima Yue. Therefore, it was basically impossible to find those people to accompany shopping. No matter how he thought about it, it was better to have Mao San Quan accompany him. Other than Little Seven who went outside, Wu La Mai and Shui Qing Man also left the Little Realm and stayed in the Alchemist Guild. Xiachang Tian, Wu La Mai and the others got to know each other when they were in the Little Realm. They heard that they were Yu's adoptive parents and wanted to see the situation of the city outside. Xiachang Tian invited them to stay at the Alchemist Guild. After the cleansing, there were much fewer people in the city and it was much safer. Even if there were some small conflicts with Wu La Mai's strength, it wouldn't be a problem. Furthermore, with the privileges given by the president of the Alchemist Guild and the president of the Dan Alliance, they could go wherever they wanted. No one dared to touch them. Moreover, Shui Qing Man's condition was rather stable now. As long as she ate Yu's pills on time every day, she would be fine. So these days she and Wu La Mai wandered around together. Sometimes they would call Little Seven along. Sometimes the two of them wanted to enjoy their time together, so they would leave Little Seven alone. Then Little Seven would drag Mao San Quan out to play. Tomorrow is the competition. Just do your best. Mao San Quan said, the Pill Alliance has cleared out a lot of forces this time, and our position is stable again. Sima Yu and Han Miao Shuang looked at each other and relaxed when they saw each other. If this competition was related to whether the academy could continue to stay in the Dan Alliance, then they had to get a good ranking. The pressure was self-evident. Now that there was no pressure, they could go all out and compete. At night, Sima Yue sat at the table reading. Because Little Seven came back to stay in the same room with her after Wu Lingyu left, she was lying on the bed reading. These books were given to her by Sima Yue. She said that it was to understand this world better. Yu, where did your senior brother go? Little Seven was tired from reading and asked while lying on the bed. Senior brother? Sima Yue raised her head and said, speaking of which, they didn't show up when the competition started last time. Didn't they say that the Sage Pavilion's people came? Why didn't I see them? I really don't know. Little Seven said, I went out for a walk. I heard that the Sage Pavilion didn't come last time. It seemed like they were tied up by something. Then they might not come to the competition this time? Sima Yu said. Maybe. You miss him, don't you? Just tell him if you miss him. Little Seven teased. Children shouldn't talk about such nonsense. Sima Yue kept her book and prepared to sleep. She wanted to rest well for tomorrow's competition. But just as she got up, she felt someone approaching. You, it's Sima Lu Yun. Little Seven jumped up. Should we stop him? What is he doing here? Sima Yue was confused. While she was hesitating, Sima Lu Yun had already arrived in her room. Sima Lu Yun looked at Sima Yue. Thinking about the news about her that had been sent to him these few days, his heart was filled with emotions. Such an outstanding person, no wonder she was his child. It was a pity that he couldn't bring such a child back to the clan. Do you have something to say? Sima Yue asked. Yes. Sima Lu Yun grabbed her shoulder and flew out with her. Stop. Little Seven didn't expect that he would take Yue away. She was a step slower and couldn't stop him. She quickly chased after him. Mao Sanquan, who was meditating in the room, suddenly opened his eyes and flew out of the window. He saw Sima Lu Yun grabbing Sima Yue and flying away, chasing after them. Sima Lu Yun might not be as powerful as Little Seven, but his speed was rather fast. Little Seven chased after them to a secluded place. Sima Lu Yun stopped and let go of Sima Yue. Where is this? Why did you bring me here? Sima Yue looked at him cautiously. I brought you here because I have something to tell you. Sima Lu Feng flew over from another direction and stopped beside them. What is it that you can't say in the inn and have to come here? Sima Yue was a little angry that they brought her out without permission. Mao Sanquan chased after them. When he saw Sima Lu Yun and Sima Lu Feng, he added Sima Yue in the middle and shouted, Who are you? Why did you capture my academy student? Instructor Mao. Sima Yue didn't expect Mao Sanquan to come too. Mao Sanquan? Heavenly Sex Instructor. Sima Lu Feng looked at Mao Sanquan and said, We didn't have any bad intentions when we looked for Yue. You don't have to hate us. Yue. Mao Sanquan looked at Sima Yue. Sima Yue looked at Sima Lu Yun and said, Instructor Mao, they won't hurt me, at least not now. Tell me, why did you look for me? Yue, don't pull a long face. We looked for you to tell you that you must get first place in this alchemy competition. Sima Lu Feng said. What? What does my results have to do with you? Sima Yue asked with a sunken face. She had just gotten rid of the academy's pressure. Why did these people come to ask her? Of course it has something to do with you. Sima Lu Feng said, Your alchemy competition is split into 2 groups. You just need to get first place in your group. What? Because the reward for first place is the 10,000-year-old Methria fruit. You must get it. Sima Lu Yun said. Not interested. She wasn't curious about that thing. There was this fruit in the spirit pagoda. You must get it because it's the key to going home. Chapter 10:16. Remember it in 1 second and read it at any time. Mobile users, please visit. Sima Yue looked at Sima Lu Yun and remained silent for a while before saying, I don't want to go home before I make things clear. Maybe you don't need it, but your father does. Sima Lu Yun continued, After obtaining the 10,000-year Methria fruit, your father can only come back if he wants to. What do you mean? Sima Yue frowned. Back then your father was expelled from the family because of your mother. But he loves the clan very much. He said before that the clan is his root. Sima Lu Feng said. What does this have to do with the 10,000-year-old Methria fruit? Because of your parents, a highly respected member of the family was injured. If he doesn't recover, your father won't be able to return. If he recovers and your father wants to come back, there's still a glimmer of hope. Sima Lu Feng explained. What do you mean my father is back? Where is he now? Sima Yue had a bad feeling. Sima Lu Yun hesitated for a moment and said, After your father brought you away, he never came back. We don't know where he is. We've been looking for him for more than 10 years, but we haven't found him. As expected, Sima Yue's heart sank as she asked, Is he still alive? The situation is not optimistic. Sima Lu Yun took out a box and opened it. Sima Lu Xian's life jade was lying inside. Although it wasn't completely rotten, it was covered with spider webs. Sima Yue looked at the life token and felt a sense of familiarity, followed by a sharp pain in her heart. Father. She reached out to touch the life tablet. Because it was not completely broken, there was still a trace of warmth on it. When did this happen? A few years ago. Sima Lu Feng said, The clan's core disciples used the best jade stones, which had spirituality. If the person recovers, these cracks will automatically repair themselves. That's why my father hasn't recovered from his injuries. All these years he's been like this. Sima Yue's eyes turned misty. She could not imagine what kind of environment would cause a spiritual master to be injured for so many years without being able to recover. We've already found some news. Although we haven't found him yet, we've already found his whereabouts before he disappeared. Sima Lu Feng comforted her. Sima Yue looked up at him. The concern on his face was genuine. She took a deep breath and tried to calm herself down. Tell me the news. No. Sima Lu Yun rejected without even thinking. Those aren't things you can come into contact with. If one day you can return to the clan or grow up, it won't be too late to find out. Tell me. Sima Yue looked at him with determination. After obtaining the Methrayao fruit, I'll tell you some of the things that you can know. Sima Lu Yun continued, otherwise I won't let you know about those dangerous things. Sima Yue looked at him and said, if I give you the 10,000 years Methrayao fruit, will you tell me those things? Yes. With a thought, Sima Yue took out a fruit that resembled the Methrayao Buddha. Now tell me. Sima Lu Yun was stunned. He chose some things to tell her. After half an hour they ended the conversation. The things you said have nothing to do with my father now. Sima Yue was dissatisfied. I've said it before. I won't let you take risks before you grow up. Sima Lu Yun insisted. I promised him that I'll protect his daughter. I'll check it out myself. Sima Yue continued, from the information you gave me. I think it's best if you don't. Sima Lu Feng continued, we have a stronger information network than you, but we haven't found any news for 30 years. I understand how you feel. But your mission now should be to increase your strength. That way you won't be too passive when you return to the clan and find your father. If I find him, I'll send someone to inform you. Sima Lu Yun said. How can I trust you? If you're just an ordinary person, I might let you continue living your ordinary life. But you're not. The things you've done, the power you have, it shows that you're not like that. Telling you is better than hiding it from you. Sima Lu Yun said. Should I thank you for your compliment? Sima Yue snorted. You're his daughter. Although Sima Lu Yun was harsh, he was satisfied with Sima Yue. Your uncle Lu Feng is right. What you should do now is not to spend your time on the impossible, but to increase your strength. You're a smart person. You should understand this. Sima Yue was silent for a while. She nodded and said, but I have a condition. What condition? Give me your life jade. Sima Lu Yun was silent for a while. He passed the box to her. Thank you. Sima Yue took the box carefully. Her hands were trembling. Although you gave the Methrayao fruit, if you can get good results in the alchemy competition, your parents will be proud of you. Sima Lu Yun said. I also hope that I'll be their pride. Sima Yue rubbed her life jade and said faintly. Before you become strong, it's best not to let the clan know about you. We'll cover up the matters in Cloud Sea City for you. You have to be careful outside. Not everyone in the clan wants you to return to the clan. Sima Lu Yun said, if I get someone to look for you, I'll get him to take this. Other than that, don't trust anyone who comes to look for you. After speaking, he took out a jade token and split it into two. He gave her half of it and kept the rest for himself. Sima Yue saw how careful he was. She knew that the situation was more complicated than what she thought. She nodded. You're a good child. I think he'll want to see you. Sima Lu Yun said, wait for our news. Sima Yue responded obediently. At this moment, she finally had the attachment of a junior to an elder. Sima Lu Yun's lips curled into a faint smile. He took out a book and said, study this properly when you have time. Sima Yue flipped to the first page. There were only 4 words on it. Sima family. Family tree? Yes. These are the core members. You can understand the people and things in the clan from there. All right. If there's anything, use this to contact Lu Feng and me. Don't look for others. Sima Lu Yun gave her another box. Sima Yue took the box. Sima Lu Yun stretched out his hand and touched her head. Sima Yue felt that there was another figure in her sea of consciousness. Uncle Lu Yun? Sima Yue stared at him with her eyes wide open. Sima Lu Yun didn't say anything. He turned around and flew away with Sima Lu Feng. Remember it in 1 second. Read it anytime. Mobile users, please visit. Fast release Crazy Wife. Divine Doctor 5th Missy's latest chapter. This chapter is. The address is //. If you think this chapter is good, please don't forget to recommend it to your friends in QQ group and Weibo. Chapter 1017. 1 second to remember, exciting reading at any time. Sima Yue looked at Sima Lu Yun. After a moment of silence, she said, I don't want to go home before I understand the situation. You might not need it, but your father needs it. Sima Lu Yun said, after obtaining the 10,000-year-old Methrayao fruit, your father can only come back if he wants to. What do you mean? Sima Yue frowned. Back then, your father was chased out of the family because of your mother. However, he loves the family very much. He said that the family is his root. Sima Lu Feng said. What does this have to do with the 10,000-year-old Methrayao fruit? Because of your parents, a highly respected person in the family was injured. If he doesn't recover, your father will not be able to come back. If he recovers, there is still a glimmer of hope for your father to come back. Sima Lufeng explained. What do you mean by my father coming back? Where is he now? A bad premonition arose in Sima Yoyue's heart. Sima Luyun hesitated for a moment and said, after your father left with you, he never came back. We also do not know where he is. We searched for more than 10 years but we could not find him. As expected, Sima Yoyue's heart sank. She asked, then is he still alive? The situation is not optimistic. Sima Luyun took out a box and opened it. Sima Liuxuan's life token lay inside. Although it was not completely rotten, it was covered in cobwebs. Sima Yue looked at the life token and felt a sense of familiarity. What followed was a sharp pain in her heart. Father. She reached out to touch the life token. Because it was not completely destroyed, there was still a trace of warmth on it. When did this happen? A few years ago. Sima Lufeng said, the core disciples of the clan use the best jade stones which have spirituality. If the person recovers, these cracks will automatically repair themselves. That's why my father has not recovered after being seriously injured. He has always been like this for so many years. Sima Yue's eyes became misty. She could not imagine what kind of environment could cause a spiritualist to be injured for so many years and not recover. We have already found some information. Although we have not found him, we have already found traces of him before he disappeared. Sima Lufeng comforted her. Sima Yue looked up at him. The concern on his face was genuine. She took a deep breath and tried to calm herself down. She said, tell me the information. No. Sima Luyun rejected without hesitation. Those are not things that you can come into contact with. It won't be too late to know if you can return to your clan or if you have grown up. Tell me. Sima Yue looked at him resolutely. After I obtain the Methria fruit, I will tell you some of the things that you can know. Sima Luyun said. Otherwise, I will not let you know about those dangerous things. Sima Yue looked at him and said, if I give you the 10,000-year-old Methria fruit, will you tell me those things? Yes. Sima Yue moved her mind. A fruit that looked like the Methria Buddha appeared in her hand. Now tell me. Sima Luyun was stunned. He chose some things to tell her. Half an hour later, they ended their conversation. The things that you said have nothing to do with my father now. Sima Yue was somewhat dissatisfied. I said before, I will not let you take risks before you have grown up. Sima Luyun had his own insistence. I promised him that I will protect his daughter. I will investigate it myself. Sima Yue said. I will investigate it from the information that you have given me. I think it is better for you not to. Sima Lufeng said. We have a more powerful information network than you, but we have not been able to find any information for more than 30 years. I understand your feelings, but your current task should be to increase your strength as soon as possible. This way, when you return to your clan and find your father, you will not be too passive. If I find him, I will send someone to inform you. Sima Luyun said. How can I trust you? If you are just an ordinary person, I might let you continue to live your ordinary life. But you are not. The things that you have done, the power that you possess, all of it shows that you are not like that. Telling you is better than hiding it from you. Sima Luyun said. Should I thank you for your praise? Sima Yue snorted. You are his daughter. Although Sima Luyun was a harsh person, he was still very satisfied with Sima Yue. Your uncle Lufeng is right. What you should do now is not to spend your efforts on the impossible search, but to increase your strength. You are a smart person, you should understand this principle. Sima Yue was silent for a moment, then nodded and said, but I have a condition. What condition? Give me your life tablet. Sima Luyun was silent for a moment, then he passed the box to her. Thank you. Sima Yue carefully received the box. Her hands were slightly trembling. Although you gave them the Methria fruit, if you are able to get a good result in the pill competition, your parents will be proud of you. Sima Luyun said. I also hope that I will be their pride. Sima Yue caressed the life tablet and said faintly. Before you are strong enough, it is best not to let the family know about you. We will cover up the matter in Cloud Sea City for you, but you have to be careful outside. Not everyone in the family wants you to return to the family. Sima Luyun said. If I send someone to look for you, I will ask him to take this. Apart from that, don't trust anyone who comes looking for you. After he finished speaking, he took out a jade tablet and split it into two. He gave one half to her and kept the other half for himself. Seeing how careful he was, Sima Yue knew that the situation was more complicated than she had imagined. She nodded. You are a good child. I think he will want to see you. Sima Luyan said. Wait for our news. Ma Yue responded obediently. At this moment she felt the attachment of a junior to an elder. The corner of Sima Luyan's mouth curled up into a faint smile. He took out a book and said, Study this when you have time. Sima Yue flipped to the first page. There were only 4 big words. Sima family. Genealogy. Yes, these are all the core members. You can learn more about the people and matters of the family from them. All right. If there's anything, use this to contact me and Lufeng. Don't look for anyone else. Sima Luyan passed her another box. Sima Yue took the box. Sima Luyan stretched out his hand and patted her head. Sima Yue felt that there was another figure in her sea of consciousness. Uncle Luyan? Sima Yue stared at him with her eyes wide open. Sima Luyan did not say anything. He turned around and flew away with Sima Lufeng. 1 second to remember, exciting reading at any time. Mobile users please visit. High-speed first post, 5th Miss Miracle Doctor's latest chapter. This chapter is at //. If you think this chapter is good, please don't forget to recommend it to your QQ group and Weibo friends. Chapter 10:18. Read 336. Yu look. Little Seven pulled Sima Yue's hand and asked her to look at the entrance. Sima Yue was sizing up the people around her when Little Seven pulled her towards the entrance. No one. VIP entrance. Little Seven reminded. Sima Yue turned around and saw the person who came in. Her eyes flashed with joy. Xia Chang Tian and Zhao Xiangqi walked at the front, followed by Wu La Mai and Shui Qing Man. Walking with them was Wu Lingyu and that old guy from the Sage Pavilion. That's the old man from the Sage Pavilion. Little Seven saw the Sage Pavilion's pavilion master, Xiao Yun Xiao, and touched her chin with her little finger, looking as if she was deep in thought. Sima Yue also noticed Xiao Yun Xiao. She had heard of this name many times, but this was the first time she saw him with her own eyes. When she thought about how he had been eyeing Wu Lingyu's body, she looked at him with a sharp gaze. Xiao Yun Xiao felt as if he was being stared at. He looked down at the contestants, but he didn't see anyone looking at him with dissatisfaction. Sima Yue raised her head when she felt that the gaze had left. They came at the right time. Little Seven said faintly. He didn't come when something happened, but now he appeared. Sima Yue looked at Wu Lingyu's pale face and said, Senior brother is injured. He's injured? Little Seven looked carefully and said, It does seem a little abnormal. But from the looks of it he should be fine. Don't worry. Yes. Don't worry, I won't affect the competition, Sima Yue replied. She could also see that although he was injured since he appeared here, it meant that the matter was over. He was not a person who would joke about his life. Well, apart from her, everything else was like this. Xia Chang Tian and the others walked up to the rostrum and invited Wu La Mai and the others to take a seat. Then they signaled to the host who was waiting below. Song Jiang had been killed in the previous turmoil. This time, the host was re-elected by the Alchemy Guild and the Guild. After the host went up, the entire venue immediately quieted down. I am the host of this competition, Ji Qingyuan. I won't say any more nonsense. Now please enter the arena. Ji Qingyuan's words were concise and powerful. After everyone heard his words, they all walked into the arena. Ji Qingyuan waved his hand, and over 1,000 tables and chairs appeared in front of the contestants. There is a test paper in the desk drawer in front of you. Your task today is to finish this test paper. By the way, there was Group 1 at the front and Group 2 at the back. The papers for the 2 groups were different. Remember to check before you do the questions. After that he stopped talking. All the contestants opened their drawers. Inside they had prepared paper and pens. Sima Yue took out the test papers and looked at them. They were the same as the test papers she used to take in school. There was a big Group 2 written on the top corner. So stupid. She couldn't help but complain. Why was it the younger Group 1 but the second group? So stupid. She roughly flipped through it. This thick stack would take at least half a day to finish. There are so many questions. How are the people from the union going to judge? Someone muttered in a low voice. Who knows? Hurry up and do the questions. If you can't finish them, you will be eliminated. That's right. Hurry up and do it. Everyone do your own thing. If not, you will be considered as breaking the rules and will be eliminated. Ji Qingyuan warned those who were muttering. Those people immediately shut their mouths. They came here. If they were eliminated because of this, their bad reputation would spread throughout the alchemy circle. Sima Yue flipped to the first page of the test paper and started to do the questions one by one. These questions started with some basic knowledge. For example, how to refine the herbs better, what the effects of certain herbs were, which herbs should not be mixed with, etc. From simple to complicated, from easy to difficult, the questions became deeper and deeper. The contestants took longer and longer to think. Sima Yue lowered her head to do the questions. She felt that someone was staring at her. She raised her head and saw an unfamiliar man looking at her. That person saw that she was looking at him. He didn't feel awkward and lowered his head to continue with his questions. Sima Yue spun the charcoal pencil in her hand. She didn't know this person, but he seemed to know her. She thought for a while. After confirming that she didn't know this person, she stopped thinking about who he was and continued with her questions. As time passed, many contestants finished their questions and queued up to hand in their papers. Sima Yue also joined the queue. Previously she was like the others. With so many questions, how long would it take for the association to come up with the results? But now she knew that they only needed a short while to come up with a contestant's results. She was at the front of the queue. Soon it was her turn. Put your paper in here. Ji Qingyuan revealed a rare smile. Sima Yue was a little surprised. But she still smiled at him and put her paper in. This was a special potion. It wouldn't wet the paper, but it would show the correct answer. If it was wrong, the answer would turn red. What a high-grade potion. She couldn't help but exclaim. This isn't that high-grade. Ji Qingyuan said, the answer was originally on the paper. It was just that it was written using a special potion. This potion just shows the answer. I see. Thank you. The answer slowly appeared. The calculator at the side picked up her paper and tabulated her score. 99 points. The calculator reported the result. 99 points? 99 points? Everyone exclaimed in shock. Sima Yue also exclaimed. Ji Qingyuan took the paper and flipped through it. Indeed, there was only one red spot. 99 points? Sima Yue frowned. How can it be 99 points? Let me see the paper. Ji Qingyuan passed the paper to her. Sima Yue flipped to the red spot and looked at it carefully, saying, this should be wrong. It was a judgment question. It asked if the water attribute red star grass could be mixed with the fire attribute red star grass. This is common knowledge. These two herbs can't be refined together. Ji Qingyuan said, these two herbs have strong medicinal properties. If they are mixed together, it will cause an explosion. So this question is correct. Sima Yue shook her head and insisted on her own opinion. She said with certainty, as long as the method is right, they can be refined together. A few snickers came from behind. Red star grass and red star grass can be used together? Are you still an alchemist? This is the most common knowledge. How can you not know? That's right. Isn't it just a wrong question? Do you have to be so hesitant? If these two herbs can be mixed together, I will eat this paper. Chapter 1019. Read 336. Sima Yue did not want to care about the people behind her, but their sarcastic words made her very unhappy. Moreover, she also felt that as an alchemist she had an obligation to correct some common-sense mistakes. You said that if these two herbs can really be mixed together, you will eat the test paper? She turned around and looked at the man who spoke just now. That's right. Gu Shiping lifted his chin and looked at Sima Yue arrogantly. He couldn't stand Sima Yue. He used to be the center of attention, but now no one could see him. They only saw this clown who came out of nowhere. Sima Yue didn't know why he was looking at her with such a challenging gaze, but she never intended to show mercy to people who provoked her. I believe you won't go back on your word in front of so many people. She smiled at him, then turned to Ji Qingyuan and said, the scarlet star grass and fire cliff grass are both very strong. If they are mixed together, it will produce an even stronger medicinal effect. For some powerful medicinal pills, this can double the effect. But these two herbs can't be fused together. Even if you add some fused herbs, it won't work. Ji Qingyuan said. That's because we haven't found the right blend yet. Sima Yue said, as long as we find the right fusing agent, these two herbs can be fused together. Why don't you prove it to us? Otherwise go away. Don't blindly compete here. Gu Shiping said. Remember what you just said. Sima Yue glanced at him, then took out a red star grass, a fire cliff grass, and a bunch of black plants that looked a little like earth tiger grass. What is this? It's so black. Is it also a medicinal ingredient? Gu Shiping had never seen such a thing before and sneered. This is not a medicinal herb. But this thing is much more useful than those medicinal herbs. Sima Yue said, but I think, for someone like you who was born with a silver spoon, you must have never seen such an ordinary thing. This is your fusion agent? Haha, such a black plant that isn't even a medicinal herb. Sima Yue ignored him this time. She took out her alchemy furnace and began to refine the herbs. The two kinds of herbs were quickly refined into medicinal liquid, and then the earth tiger grass was burned to ashes, and the ashes were placed into the pill furnace. After that, he poured the red star grass and the fire cliff grass into the pot, covered the lid and lit the fire. Bang, bang, as the temperature rose, a clanking sound came from inside the furnace. It was very similar to the prelude to an explosion. Haha, the furnace is about to explode. Gu Shiping laughed loudly. I already told you that this is common sense, but you're still arguing. How is it? Have you been slapped in the face by reality? Noisy, Sima Yue said calmly and continued to focus on the furnace. Bang, bang, the movements in the furnace grew bigger and bigger. Aside from Sima Yue, everyone else thought that the furnace would explode in a few seconds. Even Ji Qingyuan was prepared to seal the place the moment the explosion happened. Bang, bang, just when everyone thought that it was about to explode, the sound in the furnace gradually became softer, until it finally quieted down. This is, Gu Shiping and the rest did not believe that it had really fused, but there was no movement inside. Their curiosity was piqued. Sima Yue extinguished the fire and opened the lid of the furnace. A medicinal fragrance wafted out. This medicinal fragrance is so strong. Everyone present could smell it. Sima Yue patted the furnace and 2 pills flew out. With a wave of her hand she caught the pills. It really fused. Everyone looked at the pills in her hand in disbelief. Not only did it fuse, she even used these 2 herbs to refine pills. There was no need to talk about the effects. The strong medicinal fragrance was enough to explain everything. Sima Yue handed the pills to Ji Qingyuan saying, does this count as proof? Ji Qingyuan took the pills and looked at them saying, it really did fuse. In the past, we only looked for the fusing agent in the herbs and failed time and time again. We never thought that the key was not in the herbs. We made a mistake in this question. We will use this answer as the final answer. Your question is correct. Your final score is full marks. The person who was tallying the scores at the side crossed off the previous score and gave her full marks. Sima Yue glanced at Gu Shiping and did not say anything about letting him eat the paper. She turned around and returned to the resting area. Although she did not say it, her gaze made Gu Shiping's face turn red. He wished he could find a hole to hide in. Alright, let's continue. Next, Sima Yue returned to the resting area. Han Miao Shuang and the rest were already waiting for her. Yu, why didn't you let that guy eat the paper? Little Seven saw that she let that person off so easily and pouted. Let people off when possible. This is not what I believe in. But I don't want to cause trouble blindly. Sima Yue said, I saw this person when I was observing the surroundings. Although I don't know who he is in the inner region. This means that he is from the inner region. It was best that she did not have any enmity with people from the inner region. Anyway, this result is already a huge slap in the face. What does it matter if he eats the paper or not? Little Seven nodded as if she understood. That's right. No matter what, everyone here saw the 2 herbs fuse together. The truth is already a slap in the face. No matter if he ate the paper or not, everyone saw it. If you force him, it will make you look aggressive. That's right. That's it. Sima Yue said, we are here to compete, not to make enemies. Let's continue to look at the results of the people behind. Those who were able to participate in the alchemy competition were all outstanding. Most of them were able to get more than 90 points. They are all elites among elites. Sima Yue sighed. These are nothing. Han Miao Shuang said, those who are able to participate are all geniuses among geniuses. They know the basics of medicinal herbs like the back of their hand. But every time they compete, they will find some more obscure knowledge to distance themselves from the rest. The real competition is in practice. Su Xiao said, some people may have good theoretical knowledge, but they are not that good at alchemy. After all, alchemy is much more difficult than theoretical knowledge. Do you guys know that person? Sima Yue pointed at one of the guys and asked. Han Miao Shuang glanced at him and said, no, why? Do you know him? I don't know him either. But he seems to know me. He even looked at me when he was answering the question. Sima Yue said, I'm very sure that I don't know him, but I feel a sense of familiarity. Chapter 1020. Read 336. Su Xiao and Han Miao Shuang looked at that person carefully and said, he does seem familiar, but after looking at him for a while, we don't know him. This person is strange. Indeed. Observe him closely. Sima Yu said. Okay. After all the results were out, Ji Qingyuan announced the people who had advanced in the first round. His words were still so concise. Those with a score of 95 points and above will start the second match tomorrow morning. After his announcement, everyone began to stand up and leave. Sima Yue glanced at the rostrum. Xiao Yun Xiao and Xiachang Tian were walking in front while Wu Lingyu and Shui Qingman were walking behind them, obediently listening to what Shui Qingman was saying. I've always been curious. That Xiao Yun Xiao is just the pavilion master of the Sage Pavilion in the inner regions. Why is he able to sit with Xiachang Tian and the others, and become the guest of honor for this competition? Han Miao Shuang leaned on Sima Yue's shoulder and looked at the rostrum with her. It is indeed a little unexpected. Sima Yue said, it would make sense if he was from the inner region. But Xiao Yun Xiao is just a pavilion master from the middle region. He doesn't have a high status. How did he become a guest? Only the president and the alliance master will know. Su Xiao said. You can ask around. But now let's go back to the inn. Sima Yue followed Mao San Quan and left. Let's go back and rest. I'm exhausted from doing so many questions today. But little junior brother is really amazing. He can even reverse common sense like the scarlet star grass and firecliff grass. Since she has proven that it is wrong, then it is no longer common sense. That's true. The next day, the contestants arrived at the arena early in the morning, waiting for the day's competition to begin. At 8 o'clock sharp, Xiachang Tian brought everyone in. The moment they arrived, Ji Qingyuan went up on stage and said, the second round of the pill competition has begun. Contestants, please come on stage. Sima Yue and Han Miao Shuang walked to their respective seats. Ji Qingyuan waved his hand and another table appeared in front of everyone. The questions for this round are in the drawer. All you need to do is to refine the elixir in the specified time. Ji Qingyuan said, in the end I'll calculate your results based on the grade, quantity, time and so on. Let's start now. The contestants opened the drawer. There was a piece of paper and a pile of medicinal ingredients. There were 3 sets of each ingredient. This table is actually a spatial container. Sima Yue took out her paper. It said that she had to concoct the grade 6 or grade 7 pill by the end of the day. The participants in the second group were all under 100 years old, so their ranks wouldn't be too high. She looked at the people in the front row. Their medicinal herbs were obviously used to refine 7th and 8th grade medicinal pills. As she glanced around, she saw the man from yesterday again. He was in the last row of the first group while Sima Yue was in the first row of the second group. Yesterday they were diagonally opposite each other. Today he was in front of her. That person seemed to feel Sima Yue's gaze. He turned around to look at her, then turned back expressionlessly. How strange. Sima Yue shrugged her shoulders and started looking at the pill formulas in her hands. This pill competition was similar to the previous ones. However, there was a slight difference. In the past, one only needed to refine 1 elixir. In this competition, one needed to refine 3 types of elixirs. She checked the 3 pill formulas. The first one was relatively common, the second one was slightly different, and the third one was very rare. Many people had never even seen it before. To refine 3 types of elixirs consecutively, not only did it test one's skills, it also required a high level of mental energy. The continuous operation would make one feel tired towards the end. Of course, it didn't say that one couldn't take mental energy recovery elixirs. However, even if one took the elixir, it would still take a certain amount of time to recover. Sima Yue looked around. The people around her had already taken out their own pill furnaces and started refining. Those who were able to participate in the pill competition were of high status. Hence, their pill furnaces were of higher quality. In comparison, the pill furnace that she casually took out seemed so shabby. Haha, can such an ordinary pill furnace really refine elixirs? Someone in the stands noticed her pill furnace and laughed. Refining elixirs is definitely not a problem. The person beside him agreed. After all, 3rd and 4th grade elixirs are still elixirs. However, this competition isn't just about refining 3rd or 4th grade elixirs. Don't talk so much. No one will treat you as a mute. Gushi turned around and glared at them. It turned out that the people who were making sarcastic remarks were from the Gu clan. Because of what happened yesterday, they paid extra attention to Sima Yuyue. Actually, there were quite a few people who had noticed Sima Yuyu's pill furnace just like them. Yesterday she had demonstrated how the scarlet star grass and flaming cliff grass could fuse together, which gave everyone a huge shock. It was no surprise that it had attracted everyone's attention today. Doesn't your academy have good resources to prepare a good pill furnace for her? Beside Mao Sanquan, someone who had a good relationship with him teased. Mao Sanquan glanced at him and ignored him. He continued to pay attention to the competition on the stage. Han Miao Shuang, Su Xiao Xiao and 3 other students were in the first group. Sima Yuyue was the only one in the second group. Sima Yuyue didn't think that she would be the center of attention. She also didn't think that those people would comment on her pill furnace. She lowered her head and continued to arrange her herbs. Wu Lingyu looked at her busy figure from the rostrum and smiled faintly. Wait a little longer. Wait a little longer and he would be able to find her. After Sima Yuyue arranged the herbs properly, she began to refine. The other students had already been refining for quite a while. She refined the herbs one by one, then fused them and condensed them. When she started to condense the pills, the others had already finished refining the first type of elixir. The fragrance of the herbs floated on the stage. When she finished refining, the others had already been refining the second type of elixir for quite a while. She didn't put the elixir into a bottle like the others. She just grabbed it and put it into a jade bottle. Then she started to refine the second type. Yu really isn't anxious at all. There's nothing to be anxious about. It's still early. Mao Sanquan said, those people were so anxious at the start. This will make them use up more mental energy. Some of them will be more tired towards the end. Just as Mao Sanquan said, many people were tired after refining the second round of elixir. In order to ensure that they could refine the third round of elixir, they ate the mental energy recovery elixir and waited for their mental energy to recover before continuing to refine the elixir. Those people didn't stay idle while they were recovering. They looked around and sized up the contestants around them. Many people saw that Sima Yuyue was slowly refining the second round of elixir. She didn't have any intention to stop and rest. She took out the herbs for the third type of elixir and started to refine them. You're tuning in to the Han Li's Wuxia Adventures YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.